Chapter 590. Li Qianxue had been worried. She was scared when she saw Su Qingsang go on stage. She had never been so scared before. She was afraid that Su Qingsang would lose to Su Peijian. She was afraid that Su Qingsang would be at a disadvantage. She regretted countless times. She regretted not being more magnanimous and tolerant. If she had trained Su Qingsang according to Su Peijian's standards, Su Qingsang would definitely be more outstanding today. Until she saw Su Qingsang's performance, until she heard her daughter speak. Her heart had been hanging in the air. In the end, Su Qingsang left the stage. Her heart, which was worried about Su Qingsang, seemed to finally be at ease. Her back was covered in a layer of sweat. After Su Qingsang's performance, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Su Qinghui stood beside her. He had been paying attention to Li Qianxue and Su Qingsang. He was also amazed by Su Qingsang's performance. He had never seen a daughter like this. Seeing that Li Qianxue's body relaxed after Su Qingsang's performance, he reached out to help her. Li Qianxue waved his hand away without thinking. She turned to face him and stood still, her eyes cold. Su Qinghui. She had so many things she wanted to say and so many emotions she wanted to vent. But now, she couldn't say anything other than Su Qinghui's name. She didn't need to say anything. Su Qinghui understood. Ignoring her resistance, he held her in his arms. He gently patted her back. Li Qianxue's body tensed up. At first, she wanted to break free, but the occasion wasn't right. She thought of Su Qingsang and Su Peijian. The emotions in her heart were in a mess. She couldn't help but grab the front of Su Qinghui's shirt tightly. Her trembling voice was filled with suppressed emotions. Su Qinghui, you owe her. You owe her for the rest of your life. Su Peijian shook Su Qingsang's hand off. If it weren't for her last shred of dignity, she might have lost her temper on the spot. After shaking Su Qingsang's hand off, she realized that something was wrong. She grabbed Su Qingsang's hand and led her to a corner. She took a step forward and stood in front of her. She looked at Su Qingsang with fire in her eyes and a low voice full of sharpness. Su Qingsang, are you very proud now? Are you proud of yourself? Su Qingsang looked at her exasperated face and chuckled. I'm quite proud of myself. After all, it would be hard for me not to be proud of having Miss Su as my accompaniment. Don't you agree? Her smile was faint and her expression was magnanimous. No matter who saw her now, they would not think about how nervous she was before she went on stage. Speaking of which, Su Qingsang really didn't have any outstanding talents. She grew up with the identity of an illegitimate daughter. The Su family being willing to give her a mouthful of food was already a gift. How could they let her go to those things? Moreover, she wasn't interested in that. Therefore, compared to Su Peijian, she really didn't have any talent to show. Her voice was not bad, but she had never wanted to sing. To be able to sing a legend like this, he had to thank his medical school days. Every year at the medical school's gala, there would be people who would perform on stage. Su Qingsang was never a person who liked to be in the limelight. However, the year she was about to graduate, the class monitor misheard and reported her name. When she found out, it was too late. She wanted to say that she didn't want to perform, but the program had already been reported to the school. Su Qingsang had no choice but to bite the bullet. She was a person who pursued perfection. Since she had decided to go on stage, she had to perform well. For that time on stage, she practiced for a long time. She learned how to pronounce, how to speak, and how to turn. Fortunately, it hadn't been too long since she graduated. Her voice could still be heard. The calmer she was, the angrier Su Peijian became. Su Qingsang, don't go too far. How did she go too far? She was the one who provoked her first. How did she become the one who went too far? My woman, so what if I go too far? The voice that suddenly sounded was a bit cold. Hua Jinyao had come out of nowhere. He stood in front of Su Qingsang, put his big hand on her shoulder, and looked at Su Peijian with sharp eyes. Su Peijian's body trembled under Hua Jinyao's stare, and her momentum suddenly weakened. Hua Jinyao curled the corner of his lips. His tall figure created a great sense of oppression at this moment. So what if my woman goes too far? Su Peijian gritted her teeth. At this point, what could she do? Su Qingsang looked at Hu Jinyao. Her heart warmed. Actually, she wouldn't be at a disadvantage. But she liked Hu Jinyao's protective look. President Hua, this is between me and Qingsang. It has nothing to do with you. Qingsang is my wife. Do you think it has anything to do with me? Just as Su Peijian was about to vomit blood, another voice sounded. It's so lively here. Hui Yifan had come out of nowhere. He stood next to Su Peijian. His gaze swept over Hu Jinyao and Hui Yifan, and he smiled. Big brother, what are you doing? No matter what, Peijian is your future sister-in-law. Don't scare her on my behalf. He also put his hand on Su Peijian's shoulder. His intention to protect her was quite obvious. Hu Jinyao's gaze swept over his hand, and finally returned to Hui Yifan's face. Their eyes met, and for some reason, there was a strange surge of pressure in the air. You also said that she is future. Since it is future, let's wait until she marries into the family. The corners of Hu Jinyao's lips curled up slightly, and there was a hint of mockery in his expression. Su Peijian felt more and more anxious. What did Hu Jinyao mean? Big brother, it's really interesting to talk like this. Don't worry. I will definitely make Peijian your sister-in-law. Then we can wait and see. Hu Jinyao put his arm around Su Peijian's waist, glanced at Hu Yifan and Hu Yifan's faces, turned around, and left. Su Peijian was so angry that her teeth itched. She was really uncomfortable. She waved Hu Yifan's hand away. Enough. Okay, baby, don't be angry. Hu Yifan held her hand. It's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Don't be anxious. How could she not be anxious? She glared at Hu Yifan hatefully. You'd better pray that the signing of the contract will go smoothly in 2 days or else. Okay. Hu Yifan put her in his arms again. Don't be angry. Trust me, it will go smoothly. Su Peijian walked beside Hu Jinyao, and she suddenly laughed out loud. Her laughter was very low. Hu Jinyao turned his face to look at her. What are you laughing at? Nothing. Su Peijian glanced at him. I think Su Peijian's reaction just now was quite funny. Hu Jinyao twitched the corner of his mouth. She probably didn't expect that you would turn her into a joke when she wanted to see you make a fool of yourself. Su Peijian laughed, stuck out her tongue, and said playfully, It's not a joke, but she didn't get what she wanted, so she's probably very angry. Hu Jinyao smiled as well. He kissed her gently on the cheek and said, You sang so well just now. Why didn't I notice it before? When you went to play with us, you held back, didn't you? Su Peijian's eyes curved. I always have to hold back. Well done. Hu Jinyao looked at her slightly open lips and couldn't help but kiss them. I like it. Su Peijian's face was a little red. From the corner of her eye, she saw Su Peijian and Hu Yifan turn around and leave, and the smile on her face faded a little. She actually didn't want to have a bad relationship with Su Peijian. From Su Peijian's point of view, she had lost everything. It was understandable that she would have emotional dissatisfaction. If Su Peijian didn't do anything and just let it go, then she was willing to let it go. If Su Peijian didn't want to stop and would make more moves, then she had no choice but to do it. Su Peijian didn't wait for the banquet to end and wanted to leave early. However, she couldn't leave because Old Master Hua was looking for her. Old Master Hua didn't know that Su Peijian didn't know how to play the guqin, so he thought that the two sisters' performance just now was a temporary surprise. Naturally, he knew that Su Peijian was multi-talented. For a moment, he didn't realize Su Peijian's original intention. Peijian, you gave a good surprise today. Did you tell that last Qingsang long ago? Yes. Su Peijian smiled brightly, but only she knew how unwilling she was in her heart. I wanted to play the four-hand duet with my sister, but she said that it would take longer to practice. This is the best. Good. Old Master Hua said the word good 3 times. He looked at Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue in the distance. Ask your father to come over later to discuss your marriage with Yifan. Old Master Hua thought that Su Peijian and Hu Jinyao hadn't held a wedding in Rong City yet. Now that Su Peijian was going to be with Hu Yifan, the wedding must be held in a lively manner. Su Peijian's face was really a little stiff now. Discuss her marriage with Su Chenghui? Li Qianxue was in a bad mood. She was also the one who wanted to leave early. However, she couldn't. Not only was she not in a hurry to leave, but she also stood aside when someone came up to say hello and knew that Su Chenghui was Su Peijian's father. President Su is amazing. Both of his daughters are so outstanding. It's really gratifying that they can both marry into the Hua family. That's right. President Su's daughter is better than so many outstanding daughters in Rong City. He's really good at teaching. Su Chenghui didn't want to hear those praises. However, he had to listen to them. Not only him, but also Li Qianxue. Others wouldn't know that they were divorced, let alone that Su Peijian and Su Qingsang had the same father but different mothers. Li Qianxue stood beside Su Chenghui. After the crowd dispersed, she glanced at Su Chenghui coldly. This is the last time. She didn't say what the last time was. She walked towards Su Qingsang, intending to leave first. Su Chenghui watched her figure disappear into the distance and sighed silently in his heart. He had thought that it was a chance to get close to Li Qianxue and repair their relationship. However, he didn't expect that not only did he not get what he wanted, but it also made their relationship even worse. Looking in Su Peijian's direction, Su Chenghui knew that it would be even more difficult for Li Qianxue to forgive him. Before he could recover from that emotion, Old Master Hua had already asked Hua Yifan to invite him. Old Master Hua was a powerful person. After entertaining for most of the day, he was sitting on the sofa in the banquet hall to rest. Hua Yangyuan and Hua Yangxiu sat beside him. In addition to them, there was also Hua Yifan and Su Peijian. There was also Hua Mingliang, Nian Chuanya and her husband, Tuying, and Hua Manzi. Su Chenghui didn't see Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang, so he greeted everyone present. Finally, he sat down on the sofa opposite Old Master Hua. "Nephew, where's niece?" "She's not feeling well. She went back to the hotel to rest." Old Master Hua nodded. He understood the real relationship between Li Qianxue and Su Peijian, so he didn't ask any more. "Nephew, I've already said it once. Now I'll say it again, and I'll also ask for your opinion." As Old Master Hua spoke, he glanced in the direction of Hua Yifan and Su Peijian. The two of them were sitting together, holding hands, looking very loving. Let's discuss Peijian and Yifan's marriage. Su Chenghui had prepared before he came, but he didn't expect Old Master Hua to be so anxious. Get engaged first, then get married. It was a lively and bustling event. As for how much betrothal gift you want and what other requirements, just mention it. I mean a wedding in Rong City. As for whether to do it in Lin City, we'll also ask for your opinion. If you need to do it, we can also cooperate. He married both of his daughters to the Hua family. Hua Jinyao's previous matter with Su Qingsang had become a foregone conclusion. Old Master Hua definitely wanted this second wedding to be a grand one. I think that's good too. Hua Yangyuan also said at this time, one in Rong City, one in Lin City. Our Hua family can't be too casual in marrying a daughter-in-law. Su Peijian leaned her face against Hua Yifan's chest, and the anger in her heart before. Finally, it was a lot smoother. Su Chenghui sat there for a long time without moving. In front of him was an elder of the Hua family, and opposite him was Old Master Hua's smiling eyes. He turned to look at Su Peijian and saw the smile in her eyes. He pursed his lips and spoke softly under Su Peijian's smiling face. "Sorry, I don't agree to this marriage." The air seemed to suddenly become silent. Everyone in the Hua family looked at Su Chenghui, as if they didn't understand why he meant this. "Nephew, you must be joking, right?" "I'm not joking." Su Chenghui faced Old Master Hua with a fearless expression. "I really don't agree." "Well." Old Master Hua looked at the other people present, then looked at Su Peijian, and finally seemed to be a little confused. "Nephew, do you have any dissatisfaction with Yifan?" "Neither." Su Peijian's face turned pale. She never expected Su Chenghui to do such a thing. "Then what are you doing?" "Old Master, I think it's better for me to tell you something first." Su Chenghui's voice was indifferent. "You should know that although Peijian is my daughter, she can't be considered the eldest daughter of the Su family." At this point, Su Peijian's face was already quite ugly. She almost couldn't help but lose her temper. Hui Yifan squeezed her hand tightly and gave her a disapproving look. Su Qinghui acted as if he didn't see Su Peijian's change of expression. Peijian is my daughter, but she is an illegitimate daughter. She almost couldn't help but lose her temper. Hui Yifan squeezed her hand tightly and gave her a disapproving look. Except for old Master Hua, everyone's expression changed. Nian Chunya had known it for a long time, but when she heard Su Qinghui say it out loud, her expression became even more interesting. She's illegitimate. Now, it had nothing to do with the Li family in Lin City. I don't think she's good enough for Dad. Su Peijian had been upset the whole night. She had been suppressing her emotions. This time, she didn't want to suppress it anymore. Do you have to be like this? I just wanted to make it clear to my in-laws in advance. Su Qinghui looked calm. He looked at Su Peijian, and his usually elegant face was filled with determination. I've taught you that a gentleman does not lie in the dark. I've made mistakes before, so I don't want you to make them again. Your status doesn't match Hui Yifan's. Dad. Su Peijian gritted her teeth and clenched her fists. Old Master Hua looked at the father and daughter and cleared his throat to smooth things over. Nephew, you don't have to say that. I already know Peijian's identity. The Hua family doesn't mind. We didn't object to Su Qingsang's marriage with Jinyao. Old Master, I know you're a good person. Su Qinghui's attitude didn't change. After what happened before, he knew very well that Su Peijian wanted to marry into the Hua family because she didn't get along with Su Qingsang. How sincere could she be towards Hui Yifan? A marriage without feelings wouldn't be happy. Su Peijian was now possessed. In order to make Su Qingsang unhappy, she didn't mind putting herself in danger. But there are some things I want to make clear to you first. For example, Peijian's identity and the gap between her and Hui Yifan. I've made these clear. I know that nephew is magnanimous. However, these are all small matters. You don't have to be so agitated, don't you think? Anyway, I won't agree. Su Qinghui's attitude was firm. Su Peijian was furious. She sat there and felt as if she had been stripped naked. Embarrassment, shame, and all kinds of emotions surged, making her face turn red. Dad, I'm already an adult. I don't need your permission to do anything. She was going to marry into the Hua family. Yes, you're old enough to have your own opinions. So, you don't need my permission to do anything. Su Qinghui nodded and didn't refute her words. I'm just explaining my attitude. As for what you plan to do, that's your business. He stood up and glanced at Old Master Hua. Old Master, I have reservations about this marriage, but I've already said it first. However, I've already said this first. If you still want Peijian to enter the Hua family, then do as you please. You don't have to inform me to attend the wedding. Su Peijian's face turned from red to white. She didn't expect Su Qinghui to be so decisive. She stood up and stood in front of Su Qinghui when he was about to leave. Dad, I thought I was still your daughter. Yes. I also thought you were still my daughter. Su Qinghui knew what she meant, but he believed that she also knew what he meant. I thought you didn't see yourself as my daughter anymore. If Su Peijian hadn't deliberately made things difficult for Su Qingsang just now, Su Qinghui wouldn't have such an attitude now. However, he was very clear about Su Peijian's actions just now. She had such an attitude even before marrying into the Hua family. If he really let her marry into the Hua family and have more contact with Su Qingsang, what would she do? Or perhaps she had already made a move without him knowing. Su Qinghui didn't want to think so badly of Su Peijian, but now he had to think about it. Dad. Su Peijian took a step forward. She lowered her voice and pleaded. That was her last glimmer of hope for Su Qinghui. Today is a good day. You can disagree with me marrying Hui Yifan, but you're my father. Are you sure you really want to do this? Yes, are you sure? Su Qinghui's usually gentle black eyes were now filled with disapproval. Are you sure you've thought it through and want to marry Hui Yifan? Are you sure you love him? Are you sure? He looked at her with a sharp gaze. It was as if he could see into her heart. Before Su Peijian could answer, Hui Yifan stood up first. He held Su Peijian's shoulder. Uncle, of course Peijian and I have real feelings for each other. I've been dating Peijian for a few months. Although I can't say that we understand each other 100%, sometimes when we meet the right person, we can't help but want to settle down with them. But sometimes, when we meet the right person, we can't help but want to settle down with them. Since Peijian and I have decided, we will naturally get along well. In the future, we will slowly deepen our understanding and get to know each other better. We will let our feelings for each other further. These words were very pleasant to hear, but unfortunately, he was facing Su Qinghui. Is that so? In that case, I wish you all the best. But I still maintain my attitude. I don't support your marriage, but I won't interfere or stop it. That's all. I just hope that you won't regret it. He didn't believe that with Hui Yifan's shrewdness, he couldn't see that Su Peijian had ulterior motives in Yao Jiajing and the Hua family. But why could Hui Yifan still accept it? It meant that Hui Yifan's motives were not pure. Hua Jinyao was the president and Hui Yifan was the vice president. There was a huge difference in the word vice. Everyone had ambitions. With an outstanding brother like Hua Jinyao above them, Hui Yifan probably had his own thoughts. Su Qinghui could even conclude that Hui Yifan and Su Peijian had some business dealings. Uncle, what are you talking about? Of course I won't regret it. After all, I have real feelings for Peijian. Su Peijian didn't say anything. She didn't want to say anything anymore. She just looked at Su Qinghui. Now she hated him as well. She would remember the humiliation these people had given her today. Whether it was Su Qingsang or Su Qinghui. One by one, she would never forget all the things that had been done to her. She hid her emotions very well. In the eyes of others, she was delicate and pitiful. She didn't get her father's blessing and she felt very wronged. Only Su Qinghui, who had feelings for her for more than 20 years, didn't miss the flash of hatred in Su Peijian's eyes. His feelings became more and more complicated. Peijian, since you won't regret it, then you don't need my permission. Anyway, you're on your own. Old Master. Su Qinghui bowed in the direction of Old Master Hua. Qingsang's mother isn't feeling well. I'll go see her. Excuse me. Chapter 591. Su Peijian stood there. After Su Qinghui left, she finally couldn't help it. Grandpa Hua, I'm not feeling well. I'll go back and rest first. After saying this with all her remaining grace, she quickly left. Hui Yifan hurriedly said goodbye to Old Master Hua and quickly chased after her. Old Master Hua sat there, not understanding how things had turned out like this. It seemed that at this moment he finally realized that something was wrong. Brother, what do you think? Hui Yangyuan and Hui Yangxiu both looked at Old Master Hua. Old Master Hua waved his hand. I was too impatient. Forget it, let's not talk about this for now. Yes, yes. Nian Chuanya interrupted. In my opinion, there are many good girls in Rong City. It's not worth arguing with them. Old Master Hua glanced at him, his eyes a little cold. Nian Chuanya was momentarily embarrassed and didn't speak anymore. Not long after Su Qingsang sent Li Qianxue away, she found that Su Qinghui was also leaving. You're leaving now? Su Qinghui looked at Su Qingsang with a complicated expression. He had just hurt another daughter's heart. But even so, he did feel guilty towards Su Qingsang. Qingsang, I've booked a plane ticket back to Lin City tomorrow. Your mother probably won't stay in Rong City for long. You have to take good care of yourself. Dad. Qingsang, what happened in the past was all my fault. I'm the one who let you down. When he scolded Su Peijian, did he have the right to do the same? A gentleman doesn't bully a dark room. He had a guilty conscience, and now he had to bear the consequences. He didn't want to see the sisters become enemies, but he couldn't stop it. It's all over. It's all over. Su Qinghui didn't know how to tell her. He looked at Su Qingsang and suddenly reached out to hug her. Qingsang, don't hurt yourself. Don't let others hurt you. If someone bullies you, you can tell me. I'll definitely stand up for you. Su Qingsang was caught off guard by Su Qinghui and was completely stunned. She didn't know how to react for a moment, so she just stood there in a daze. Su Qinghui patted her on the back. After thinking for a long time, he said, Be careful of Peijian. He didn't finish his sentence, but he believed that Su Qingsang would understand. Judging from Su Qingsang's performance today, she wasn't the kind of person who would be bullied by others, so he was more or less relieved. She looked behind her and saw that Hua Jinyao had appeared out of nowhere and was standing behind Su Qingsang. Su Qinghui gave him a look that both of them could understand. Hua Jinyao nodded. Su Qinghui let go of her and looked at Su Qingsang with guilt in his eyes. In the corridor, the cold wind from the air conditioner made their arms feel a little cold. After Su Qinghui left, Su Qingsang couldn't help but glance at Hua Jinyao. What happened to my father? Hua Jinyao glanced at Su Qingsang and told her the latest news. Your father rejected Grandpa's proposal. He was against Su Peijian marrying into the Hua family. What? It was Su Qingsang's turn to be shocked. Hua Jinyao wasn't the only one who got the news. Lu Tongjia felt a little suffocated. Compared with old Master Hua's misunderstanding, she knew Su Peijian's true intentions better. She wanted to make things difficult for Su Qingsang and see Su Qingsang make a fool of herself. On the one hand, she was afraid that Su Qingsang would really make a fool of herself and embarrass the Hua family. On the other hand, she hated Su Peijian for not knowing what to do. She messed around on such an important occasion. No one else knew about it. In the end, Su Qingsang handled it perfectly. She should feel relieved, but she felt uncomfortable again. The better Su Qingsang behaved, the more uncomfortable she felt. Because she always thought of Su Qingsang hugging Zhang Yichen. That feeling made Lu Tongjia feel as if there was a fishbone stuck in her throat. It was really uncomfortable. What's wrong? Hua Mingguang noticed that Lu Tongjia didn't look good. Are you not feeling well? Lu Tongjia shook her head. She thought of something else. Su Qinghui is sensible. He knows that his daughter is an illegitimate daughter and doesn't deserve the Hua family, so he came to stop it. But isn't this a slap in the face? Su Peijian was an illegitimate daughter and didn't deserve Hua Yifan. But wasn't Su Qingsang also an illegitimate daughter? She married Hua Jinyao. What did that mean? Could it be that in Su Qinghui's heart, her son couldn't be compared to Hua Yifan? Hua Mingguang was a shrewd businessman. Thinking of something, he shook his head. I think you're thinking too much. There might be an inside story. What inside story? Lu Tongjia was already in a bad mood. That made her even more uncomfortable. What's wrong with my son? He doesn't want his illegitimate daughter to marry Hua Yifan, but he wants his illegitimate daughter to marry Jinyao? Is he looking down on people? Hua Mingguang was stunned for a moment and glanced at Lu Tongjia. Are you feeling sorry for Jinyao? This was a rare occurrence. How many years had it been? Who wants to feel sorry for him? Lu Tongjia didn't want to admit that her mood had been affected. I just can't bear to see his family have such double standards. Really? Hua Mingguang's voice was full of understanding. He had been married to Lu Tongjia for many years. How could he not know what she was thinking at this time? She could dislike her child, but she couldn't let others dislike him. Tell Jinyao later that this place is close to the old house. Let him live at home. I don't want to. If you want to tell him, you do it. Lu Tongjia didn't respond. She saw Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao standing hand in hand from afar. They seemed to be very intimate, and she felt a little upset. Su Peijian wasn't good enough for Hua Yifan. Could Su Qingsang be good enough for Hua Jinyao? Thinking of this, Lu Tongjia's voice became colder. He wants to go home anyway. With a wife, parents are nothing. Hua Mingguang was stunned for a moment, then suddenly laughed again. His wife was good at everything, but she was soft-hearted. Forget it, let him do it. Su Qingsang looked at Li Qianxue, her eyes full of reluctance. Mom, can't you stay for a few more days? 2 days had passed since the anniversary celebration, and Li Qianxue had been with Su Qingsang for 2 days. She had booked a ticket for today, and it would be flying in half an hour. I want to, but I have something to do at the company. I have to go back. Li Qianxue raised her hand and stroked Su Qingsang's cheek. Her eyes were a little emotional. Well, it's only 2 hours from Lin City to Rong City. I'll come to see you next time. You can also go back to Lin City. After Yusin's college entrance examination, you can come back and stay for a few days. The three of us will find a place to go out and play. Su Qingsang nodded. Her eyes were already red. Li Qianxue looked at her, wanting to say something but hesitating. She wanted to ask Su Qingsang why she wanted to see Xiang Kaiping several times, but in the end, she remained silent. Just as she had said to Su Peijian, it was a good thing that Su Qingsang valued relationships. Although she didn't like her contacting Xiang Kaiping or seeing Xiang Kaiping. Qingsang, if Peijian bullies you, you have to tell me. Mom, you're thinking too much. How can she bully me? Su Qingsang thought of what happened at the anniversary celebration. Hua Jinyao told her everything. There was obvious worry in Li Qianshue's eyes. She only realized that Su Qingsang was kind and magnanimous after she recognized her daughter. Su Peijian might not be bad by nature, but now she had gone astray. She was afraid that she was no longer the daughter she used to be. Okay, don't see me out. I'm going in. Li Qianxue was about to walk to the VIP passage when Su Qingsang suddenly stopped her. Yes. My dad. Seeing that Li Qianxue frowned when she heard Su Qinghui's name, Su Qingsang cleared her throat. Let me tell you something. She told Li Qianxue what Su Qinghui did that day. Su Qingsang looked at her with some caution. He's doing this to protect me. And you know, Su Peijian cares about her reputation the most. Now that she was slapped in the face by my dad, she must have suffered a great blow. So, you don't have to say good things about him. Li Qianxue didn't accept Su Qinghui's kindness at all. These things were done by him. If it weren't for him, these things wouldn't have happened today. No matter how much he does for you, it's what he should do. Mom, don't talk about him. I don't want to hear his name. Su Qingsang didn't say anything. Li Qianxue turned and walked straight to the VIP passage. When her back was facing Su Qingsang, her face wasn't as calm as she appeared to be. Su Qinghui, what was he up to this time? Su Peijian marrying Hua Yifan was far more beneficial than harmful to Su Qinghui. Moreover, Su Peijian was his beloved daughter. But now, he was giving her up just like that? Su Qinghui treated his own daughter like this. How could he treat her with sincerity? Su Qinghui had no idea at all. He wanted to make up for it, but he did it out of guilt, which caused Li Qianxue to misunderstand again. This made it even more difficult for him to pursue his wife in the future. After sending Li Qianxue away, no matter how reluctant Su Qingsang was, she had to let her life go back to normal. Because Su Qinghui came to Rong City, Su Qingsang went to see Xiang Kaiping again. She didn't mean anything else. She just wanted to test if Su Qinghui really didn't have feelings for Xiang Kaiping. If Su Qinghui came to see Xiang Kaiping, then she swore that no matter what Su Qinghui did in the future, she would never say a word for him in front of Li Qianxue. However, the result of the test made her more or less relieved. Xiang Kaiping was also very resistant to Su Qinghui and couldn't bear to hear her mention his name. That was good. It showed that Su Qinghui still had some sincerity for Li Qianxue. In fact, no matter who Su Qinghui was with, Su Qingsang planned to help no one and do nothing. But she still hoped that Su Qinghui could really think clearly about who he loved. Putting these things behind her, Su Qingsang resumed her life in the hospital, at home, and at the Hua family's old house. However, she didn't expect that she would soon be busy again. Old Master Hua sat in the study. He looked at Hua Jinyao sitting opposite him. It had been a week since the anniversary. Su Peijian and Hua Yifan's marriage didn't continue, as if it had been delayed. He returned to the Hua family's mansion on the weekend and still brought Su Peijian over. Old Master Hua was still polite on the surface, but he didn't mention her marriage to Hua Yifan again. Su Peijian was secretly resentful. She, who was holding back her anger, and she and Hua Yifan got the contract that they had been negotiating with the company they had privately opened. Hua Jinyao had been waiting for Su Peijian and Hua Yifan to sign the contract. As soon as Hua Yifan signed the contract, he came to see Old Master Hua with the contract. Jinyao, you came at the right time today. I happen to have something to talk to you about. Old Master Hua saw the document bag in Hua Jinyao's hand just now. What do you think about Su Peijian and Yifan's marriage? Su Qinghui said that day. Old Master Hua had lived to such an old age and had experienced many things. He could understand some things just by thinking about it. That was also the reason why he was indifferent to Su Peijian that day. It doesn't matter what I think. What matters is, Grandpa, don't you have an answer? Hearing Hua Jinyao's words, Old Master Hua suddenly smiled. Grandpa, I'm here today for another matter. Hua Jinyao opened the document bag in his hand, took out all the documents inside, and placed them in front of Old Master Hua one by one. Not only was there the contract that Hua Yifan had just signed with the company, but there was also all the investigation information. Old Master Hua picked it up and glanced at it briefly. His expression immediately changed. By the time he finished reading all the documents, the expression on his face was quite ugly. He kept panting heavily, and his face swelled to a purplish red. Hua Jinyao quickly stood up and went forward to pat his chest. Grandpa, don't be angry. If you are like this, I'm afraid I won't be able to tell you what will happen next. Old Master Hua patted his chest and kept calming down. When he calmed down, he looked at Hua Jinyao. You knew it long ago, didn't you? Yes. Hua Jinyao looked calm. I knew it a long time ago. I knew it the moment Su Peijian planned to marry into the Hua family. Good, very good. Old Master Hua's hands were trembling. You knew it a long time ago, but you didn't tell me? Hua Jinyao's expression didn't change. Grandpa, you should be glad that I only came to tell you, and not to directly hand this over to the board of directors. Although the Hua family held the largest share of the Tianyu Group, it wasn't that there were no other shareholders. If this evidence was handed over to the company, Hua Yifan would probably be in trouble. This unfilial son. Unfilial son? Old Master Hua cursed several times in a row. When he calmed down, he patted his chest and looked at Hua Jinyao. Tell me, what else do you think I don't know? Hua Jinyao let go of his hand and returned to his seat. Grandpa, you already know about Qing Sang and Su Peijian's background. I admit that Su Peijian is extremely capable and resourceful. However, she is too scheming, and there is a grudge between her and Qing Sang. It's impossible for her to get along with Qing Sang. What do you mean? Are you saying that she has occupied Qing Sang's identity for so many years, and she still doesn't think it's enough? Grandpa, from our perspective, we would say that Su Peijian has occupied Qing Sang's identity for more than 20 years. But from Su Peijian's perspective, she wouldn't think that way. She would only think about it. Why was it that she couldn't be a proper young miss anymore and became an illegitimate daughter? In her heart, she wouldn't think about what she had before. She would only think about what she had lost now. And Qing Sang was the culprit who caused her to lose everything. Old Master Hua's face was cold and he didn't say anything. Hua Jinyao sighed. She has resentment and anger in her heart. He had to vent his anger eventually. To her, marrying Yifan is just a springboard. In fact, you might not know what happened that day. Qing Sang doesn't know how to play the piano at all, so why did Su Peijian let her go on stage? Old Master Hua was a smart person. What else did he not understand? You mean, she wants to marry into the Hua family and then find an opportunity to deal with Qing Sang? Yes. Although I'm not sure what she plans to do, I'm sure that she has an ulterior motive. Old Master Hua didn't say anything else. Some things, once exposed, were no longer the same. Then you mean, Grandpa, I'm not an intolerant person. But some things are my bottom line. You want me to stop Yifan and Su Peijian's marriage? Old Master Hua didn't want Su Peijian to be with Hua Yifan anymore. Hua Jinyao shook his head. I don't want you to stop it. In fact, it doesn't matter to us whether Su Peijian marries Hua Yifan or not. Then, because if I kick Hua Yifan out of the Hua family, Hua Yifan will no longer be a member of the Hua family. Old Master Hua stood up and said, Jinyao. Jinyao, you? Hua Jinyao's expression didn't change, but his gaze was unusually sharp. Shouldn't a traitor be expelled from the family? Jinyao, he's your cousin. Yes. He's my cousin, so I just expelled him from the family. Jinyao. Old Master Hua was old. Even though he knew that Hua Yifan had done wrong to the company and the Hua family, he was still his grandson. But that was his grandson after all. He hoped to see a happy family. Grandpa. Actually, I have harsher methods to deal with Hua Yifan, but I didn't. Because I don't think you want me to do that. He stood up, put the documents on the table back into the file bag. But Hui Yifan, I want to teach him a lesson. Old Master Hui's face was red. He panted, and his emotions were very complicated. Jin Yao, he's your younger brother. Your brothers. When he schemed against me, he didn't treat me as a brother. Old Master Hui didn't say anything. He cleared his throat and said in a trembling voice, I know this is his fault, but he doesn't deserve to die. I didn't want him to die. I just wanted him to leave Tianyu Group and the Hua family. Hua Jinyao put away all the documents and gently knocked on the table. Grandpa, everything else can be discussed, but this is the only thing that can't be discussed. Old Master Hua didn't say anything. He looked at Hua Jinyao. He had grown up and was no longer the little boy who was willing to listen to him. Chapter 592. Ruthless. Old Master Hua's words made Hua Jinyao laugh. He knocked on the table playfully and leaned forward to look at Old Master Hua. If I really wanted to be ruthless, this information would have appeared in the hands of the board of directors. Not on your table. Which big family didn't have 1 or 2 prodigal sons? Which family didn't have 1 or 2 secrets? But no matter which family it was, they would not allow such a traitor to exist. Especially Hui Yifan. He was already the vice president of Tianyu Group. He had both status and power. Moreover, he also had shares in Tianyu Group, yet he still did such a thing. If he had been more ruthless and the truth had blown up, what would have happened to Hui Yifan? How could Old Master Hua not know? He just couldn't bear it. But how will Yifan survive after leaving the Hua family? That's his business. Hua Jinyao's voice was slightly cold. Grandpa, you don't have to worry so much about him. After all, he has Su Peijian, who is smart and powerful, behind him. Don't you agree? Old Master Hua suddenly nodded. I see. You didn't want Su Peijian to marry into the Hua family, so you used this method? If Hui Yifan left the Hua family, he would no longer be part of the Hua family. What did it matter if Su Peijian married Hui Yifan or not? In order to protect Qingsang, you really are willing to do anything. Old Master Hua's tone wasn't very good. He didn't want to vent his anger on anyone, but he felt that Hua Jinyao was too ruthless. Of course. Thinking of Su Qingsang, Hua Jinyao smiled faintly. Everyone had a bottom line. His bottom line was Su Qingsang. He would never turn a blind eye to what Su Peijian had done to Su Qingsang. What he needed to do was to shatter Su Peijian's beautiful dream. Didn't she want to marry Hui Yifan? Then go and get married. She married Hui Yifan, who had left the Hua family. What he was more curious about was whether Hui Yifan, who had left Tianyu Group, would still let Su Peijian marry him willingly. Hua Jinyao was in a good mood after leaving Old Master Hua's study. On his way downstairs, he ran into Lu Tongjia. Seeing that it was her, the good mood on Hua Jinyao's face immediately disappeared. Hua Jinyao greeted Lu Tongjia blandly, then walked past her to go downstairs. Stop right there. Lu Tongjia looked at Hua Jinyao. She felt upset again. On the day of the anniversary, Hua Mingguang asked Hua Jinyao to stay at home, but he didn't. Later, she found out that Li Qianxue had come to Rong City to stay with Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang. Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang wanted to go back to accompany Li Qianxue. Lu Tongjia was furious when she found out about this. Look, she raised a good son. People say that girls look good. It was not much different for her to have a son here. Not only did she value her wife more than her mother, but she also valued her mother-in-law more than her mother. Is your mother-in-law still in Rong City? Nope. She took yesterday's flight back. But Lu Tongjia nodded. Your mother-in-law sure is arrogant. She came to Rong City but didn't visit us. She didn't even greet us when she went back. What? Does she look down on the Hua family? Hua Jinyao finally turned his eyes to Lu Tongjia, his expression cold. Mom, you also care about whether they come to visit or not. Do you think they like our family? What do you mean? His attitude made Lu Tongjia angry. Why can't I care? If you say you can, then you can. Hua Jinyao didn't refute. However, you framed Qingsang like that in order to ruin her reputation. It would be strange if she was willing to visit us. You. Lu Tongjia didn't expect him to still hold a grudge against her last time. What's with your attitude? How did I frame her? If she didn't have an affair with someone, I wouldn't have had the chance to frame her. Hua Jinyao frowned slightly. Looking at Lu Tongjia's agitated face, he didn't have any hope and didn't want to argue with her. I know whether she had an affair or not. You don't have to be agitated. You don't have to think of a way to frame Qingsang. Because no matter what you do, I will believe her. Lu Tongjia watched as Hua Jinyao ran away after saying that. She felt a breath stuck in her chest, making her uncomfortable. Apart from the uncomfortable feeling, she also felt a hidden sadness. Su Qingsang looked at Hua Jinyao and found that he seemed to be in a good mood today. Did something good happen? Something good. Hua Jinyao pulled her waist into his arms and let her nestle against his chest. What good thing? I helped you take a little revenge on Su Peijian. Su Qingsang heard Hua Jinyao's words and widened her eyes. This was a little revenge? This was completely cutting off all of Su Peijian's escape routes, okay? With Su Peijian's personality, she was afraid that she would go crazy. However, thinking about Su Peijian's disappointed look, she actually felt a little happy. Wasn't she being a little bad now? Not bad at all. Hua Jinyao didn't want her to be soft on Su Peijian. She just can't marry into the Hua family. If she wants, she can still be with Hua Yifan. It won't affect her much. I don't want you to pity her. Su Qingsang shook her head. She didn't pity Su Peijian. There must be something hateful about a pitiful person. Su Peijian had already bullied her. How could she just swallow it? But this move of yours is really cruel. She didn't know what Su Peijian would do next. Be careful these days. Hua Jinyao suddenly became serious. Don't go home too late. Even if you are on duty in the hospital, try not to be alone. I don't want Su Peijian to have a chance to do anything to you. I don't think so. Su Peijian wouldn't break the law just to deal with him, would she? It's hard to say. If Su Peijian was really willing to settle down, he was willing to let it go. I'll talk to Yang Wenchang tomorrow and ask him to arrange 2 bodyguards for you. Stop it. Su Qingsang glared at him. She was a doctor. Did she have to bring 2 bodyguards when she went out? It would be strange if she didn't scare away those patients. Anyway, I go home in the hospital every day. I don't go anywhere else. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Moreover, Su Peijian was such a smart person. Why would she do something illegal? She shouldn't be that stupid. Anyway, you can't go wrong being careful. He didn't trust Hua Yifan and Su Peijian's characters. Of course, he would definitely ask Yang Wenchang to continue to keep an eye on Su Peijian. No matter what Su Peijian wanted to do, he wouldn't let her get what she wanted. Su Qingsang didn't object. She was sure that Su Peijian wouldn't really do anything extreme. After all, she was a smart person. She wouldn't be stupid enough to put herself in trouble. Alright. Su Qingsang suddenly sat up straight as if she had thought of something. You said you shouldn't be alone. I forgot to tell you something. What? Su Qingsang tilted her head to look at him. Her pink cheeks were blushing. Her expression seemed to be a bit conflicted. I'm going on a business trip. I'll be gone for about half a month. The first hospital of Rong City had started a cooperation project with several hospitals in S Province. They were going to S Province for a free medical exchange. Su Qingsang's performance in the past few months in the hospital was remarkable. Sun Huiya strongly recommended her to go to S Province. When Su Qingsang found out, the list had already been made. You know, Director Sun has always thought highly of me. This time, it's the same. She's already named me. There's no way I won't go. S Province? Hua Jinyao's first reaction was to think of one thing. S Province? Wasn't that? Yes. Which city? C City. C City? It wasn't the same place. But there were accidents in everything. Su Qingsang blinked. You're not happy? A little. Hua Jinyao wrapped his arms around her waist and pressed his chin against her neck. I don't want you to go. Su Qingsang hugged him, tilted her head, and kissed him on the cheek. I don't want to go either. But I have no choice. Hua Jinyao didn't say anything and tightened his arms. Su Qingsang couldn't help but kiss him on the cheek again. All right, it'll be quick. I'll be back in half a month. Honey, half a month is a long time. Then, why don't you go with me? Su Qingsang joked. I'll apply to the hospital. I can't bring a family member, but I still need a driver. Why don't you come to our hospital and be a driver? You're getting bold. Hua Jinyao reached out and pinched her cheek. You dare to ask me to be your chauffeur? Can't I? Hua Jinyao rubbed her cheek. Seeing that her face had turned red because of his action, he couldn't help but lean over and kiss her. All right. Go if you want it. I support you. Hua Yifun's departure from Tianyu was imperative. There would be news about it by tomorrow at the latest. The departure of a vice president was not a small matter, especially for a large corporation like Tianyu. Next, whether it was Su Peizhen or Hua Yifun, there would be some moves. In fact, he also believed that Su Peizhen wouldn't dare to do anything to Su Qingsang openly, but he was afraid that she would do something secretly. Under such circumstances, it would be a good thing for Su Qingsang to leave Rong City. But after you go, you must be careful. I know. Su Qingsang knew that he would agree, but she was still quite happy. That was the best thing about Hua Jinyao. He looked a little strong and chauvinistic. But at critical times, he would always stand behind her and support her decisions. She couldn't help but raise her head and gently kiss his chin. Hua Jinyao, thank you. I don't really like this thank you gift. Hua Jinyao picked her up, left the sofa, and walked to the room. I'll be more satisfied if you change your thank you gift. Su Qingsang's face was a little hot, but she took the initiative to put her arms around his neck and let him carry her back to the room. What did you say? Hua Yifun looked at the person in front of him with a shocked expression. Chapter 593. The atmosphere in the office was depressing. Hua Yifun's voice had changed. Say that again. Hua Jinyao sat behind his desk and calmly watched Hua Yifun's face change. Even if I say it 100 times, it will still be the same. Hua Yifun, from today onwards, you're no longer the vice president of Tianyu Group. I was fired. Ridiculous. How could Hua Yifun accept such a thing? Who agreed? Who gave you the right? Let me tell you, do you think that just because you say you're fired, I'm going to leave? Yes. All I have to do is fire you and you want to leave. Hua Jinyao, don't go too far. Hua Yifun's face darkened. He glared at Hua Jinyao with hatred, as if he wanted to burn a hole in his body. You are a descendant of the Hua family, and so am I. You have contributed to the group, and I have also contributed to the group. What right do you have to drive me away? Because of this. As Hua Jinyao spoke, he placed the document that he had shown old Master Hua in front of Hua Yifun. Hua Yifun picked it up and casually glanced at it. His expression suddenly became even more unsightly. He slammed the document in his hand on the table and pointed at Hua Jinyao, his face full of resentment. Hua Jinyao, you set me up? Yes, I set you up. Hua Jinyao, you set me up? Hua Yifun was so angry that he repeated the same sentence twice. Hua Jinyao rubbed the tip of his nose and nodded. Yes, I set you up. Can't I? I'm your younger brother. You're welcome. Cousin. You? Hua Yifun nodded angrily. Finally, he pointed at Hua Jinyao's face and said, Fine. Even if I run a company outside, even if I poach someone from the company, I will still be able to pay for it. But does Grandpa know that you're plotting against me? Sorry, Grandpa knows. Looking at his flustered and exasperated look, Hua Jinyao only found it funny. Do you think Grandpa will tolerate it? Let me tell you, it was my grandfather's idea to kick you out of Tianyu Group. Impossible. Hua Yifun didn't believe it at all. Grandpa is old. He likes to see a harmonious family. He won't agree. Hua Yifun. Hua Yifun stood up abruptly and sneered. You also know that Grandpa is old? Since you know Grandpa is old, why do you still do such a thing? Do you know that when Grandpa saw these things, he was so angry that he almost had a heart attack? And now you're telling me that Grandpa is old? Don't you find it ridiculous? Then why don't you show this to Grandpa? Hui Yifan gritted his teeth. He never thought that Hu Jinyao would have such a trick up his sleeve. He just wanted to suppress Hu Jinyao, but he didn't expect such a result. Why don't I show it to Grandpa? Hu Jinyao sat back down and admired the depressed look on Hui Yifan's face. I don't want to waste my breath on you. Anyway, from today onwards, you're no longer the vice president of Tianyu Group. I will find someone else to fill your position. Hui Yifan knew that Hu Jinyao was telling the truth. There was no turning back. He stood there, his heart filled with unwillingness and anger. This was not the result he wanted, nor was this the result he had predicted. Hu Jinyao, do you have to do this? Yes. Hu Jinyao wasn't polite at all. That's not all. I can also tell you that Grandpa said, from today onwards, you are no longer a member of the Hu family. What did you say? Hui Yifan's expression had completely changed this time, as if he had squeezed the words out from between his teeth. I said, from today onwards, you are no longer a member of the Hu family. This can't be Grandpa's idea, right? Grandfather Hu might kick him out of the company when he was angry, but he would never remove him from the Hu family. Hu Jinyao was the only one who could come up with such an evil plan. Yes, that's what I mean. Hu Jinyao, don't forget. Your surname is Hua, so is mine. If your surname wasn't Hua, I would have known. How can you stand here and talk to me with such an attitude? He knew that Hui Yifan wouldn't give up. Hu Jinyao didn't mind teaching him another lesson. No matter how Hui Yifan argued with Hu Jinyao, he knew that he had lost this time. Before leaving Tianyu, Hui Yifan still wanted to try one more time. Hu Jinyao, if possible, can you let Yang take over my position? He doesn't know about me. Hu Jinyao suddenly smiled. That smile was sarcastic. Hui Yifan, you still want to negotiate with me at this time? Hui Yifan's face was pale. Hu Jinyao didn't mind stabbing him again. Even you can't beat me. Do you think Hui Yang can beat me? Hearing that, Hui Yifan's face became more and more pale. When Su Peijian entered the room, she smelled alcohol. She furrowed her brows. What's wrong? The contract has been signed. You don't seem happy. In order to spite Su Qingsang, she brought forward the plan. The two of them started the company they privately opened and signed the contract the day before yesterday. Today, Hu Jinyao was drinking. Happy? Hui Yifan's eyes were bloodshot. He stared at Su Peijian with his eyes wide open. Do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? What? Ha! Hui Yifan put the glass in his hand heavily on the table. I was played by Hu Jinyao. For the past few years, I've been thinking about why I lost to him. I've always wanted to prove myself. I want to prove that I'm better than him. But what happened in reality? Hui Yifan swept an empty wine bottle on the table to the ground. I was played by Hu Jinyao. Do you know? I'm no longer the vice president of Tianyu Group. I was even kicked out of the Hu family. Kicked out of the Hu family. How dare they do this to me? Su Peijian watched him lose control, and her brows furrowed so tightly that a mosquito could be squeezed to death. What's going on? Don't be crazy. Tell me clearly. Didn't I make it clear enough? Okay. Then I'll say it again. I thought what I did was flawless, but Hu Jinyao knew everything from the beginning to the end. He knew it all along. He knew what I was doing outside. He knew that I was running a company outside. Do you even know the company that signed a contract with me? Those were all traps set by Hu Jinyao. Let me tell you, me and you, we were all played by Hu Jinyao. Impossible. Su Peijian's expression didn't look good. How could this be? Yes. I also want to know how this could be. Hui Yifan stood up as he spoke. He stood in front of Su Peijian. Tell me, why did this happen? Su Peijian couldn't answer this question. She knew that Hu Jinyao wasn't an ordinary person when she was in Lin City, but she didn't expect him to be so powerful. Calm down first. Things haven't gotten to the worst yet. Maybe there will be a turn for the better? A turn for the better? What turn for the better? Hui Yifan sneered. His face, which was red from drinking, was full of anger. Let me tell you, there won't be a turn for the better. Because my grandfather already knows. Do you hear me clearly? Grandfather already knows. Hua Jingyao was too ruthless. He didn't even leave him a way out. Su Peijian didn't say anything. Hua Yifan took 2 steps back and sat on the sofa weakly. He poured another glass of wine and began to drink. However, after he drank 2 glasses, Su Peijian suddenly grabbed his hand. Hua Yifan, pull yourself together. Things haven't gotten to that point yet. Oh? Haven't gotten to that point yet? Tell me, I was already kicked out of the Hua family. How far can it go? How far do you think it can go? He pushed Su Peijian's hand away. Su Peijian took a step back. She stood back again, but her expression was even more unsightly than before. Hua Yifan, no wonder you can't beat Hua Jinyao in this state. When he was framed by you, he didn't drink to drown his sorrows. Su Peijian. Hua Yifan stood up and glared fiercely at the person in front of him. What did you say? What did I say? I said no wonder you can't beat Hua Jinyao. With your current appearance, it's impossible for you to beat him. You? Hua Yifan's hand was raised and was about to fall. Su Peijian didn't retreat. Hit here. Hit here. She raised her face and faced Hua Yifan. Hua Yifan looked at her and suddenly put down his hand. I can't beat Hua Jinyao. I can't beat him. Since you admire him so much, you can go with him. Su Peijian sneered. You don't have to chase me away. I'll leave now. Hua Yifan, let me tell you, you can continue to drink here and continue to live a drunken life. I, Su Peijian, am blind to marry a coward like you. After saying this, she left without looking back. When Su Qingsang got off the plane, she felt the heat wave hitting her face. Rong City was located in the north. After the Dragon Boat Festival, the temperature wasn't high. City C, located in Province S, was in the middle of China. After the Dragon Boat Festival, the weather here was considered hot. It's so hot. Sun Huiya was born and raised in Rong City. She couldn't stand it as soon as she got off the plane. Su Qingsang smiled and looked at the long-sleeved knitted shirt on Sun Huiya's body. Director Sun, I reminded you. Yes, you did remind me, but I'm old. I'm always a little afraid of the cold. I didn't expect the weather here to be like this. It's okay. When we get to the dormitory later, change your clothes first. Then have a good rest. This time, they were working with Renha Hospital in City C. It was also the largest hospital in the area. They had arranged rooms for them in the hospital dormitory, and there was a welcome banquet tonight. Sun Huiya nodded and followed Su Qingsang into the car that came to pick them up. Su Qingsang didn't have much luggage. It was just a small suitcase. However, Sun Huiya had a big suitcase. Su Qingsang took the initiative to help her with the suitcase. You have so few things. Sun Huiya glanced at Su Qingsang. Did you bring enough clothes? Su Qingsang smiled and was a little embarrassed. My husband said that carrying too much luggage was tiring. He told me to buy whatever I need here. Tisk, Dr. Su, are you showing off your love in front of us? Ling Fei, who came with them, heard it and joked with Su Qingsang. That's right. He's showing off his love in front of us. Zheng Chenyu, who came with them, also clicked his tongue. He thought about how everyone saw Hua Jinyao personally send Su Qingsang to the airport this morning and how the two of them were inseparable at the airport. It's good to just get married. This relationship is so good. Sun Huiya also teased. Su Qingsang felt more and more uncomfortable. It's not really just married. Su Qingsang was a little embarrassed. We've been married for almost a year. Su Qingsang was stunned when she said this. Thinking about it seriously, it was almost a year since she and Hua Jinyao got married. It would be the 1-year anniversary in about 10 days, right? If that was the case, wouldn't their wedding anniversary not be together? After all, she still had to stay here for half a month. Her heart was a little gloomy. This was their first wedding anniversary, but the two of them couldn't be together. Thinking about it seriously, they got married so casually. Maybe Hua Jinyao didn't even remember this day? Su Qingsang suddenly felt a little stifled. However, her heart couldn't stay stifled for long. In the following time, she, Sun Huiya, and all the doctors who came to Rong City with them began to get busy. Renha Hospital in Sea City was famous and had many patients. It didn't lose to the first hospital of Rome City at all, especially since they also had cooperation with many units. On the third day of their arrival, they encountered a unit that arranged for people to come for a physical examination. There were many women in this unit. With more women, there were more gynecology-related items to be examined. Su Qing-sang and Sun Huiya had originally arranged for outpatients today, but now, they all went to help. After this wave of people finished the examination, almost 2 days had passed. 2 days later, there was another random inspection. Even if they were here for an exchange, they all became busy. In the blink of an eye, Su Qing-sang had been here for a week. Tonight, she had to do a summary of this week's work. Sun Huiya wasn't young anymore. Such a busy day was a little too much for her. Su Qing-sang took the initiative to ask her to rest, and Sun Huiya didn't refuse. She said that she would host the exchange and cooperation meeting at night. Su Qing-sang nodded and picked up her notebook. She originally wanted to go back to the temporary office they arranged to prepare. Unexpectedly, as soon as she walked out of the corridor, she met a group of people in front of her in a hurry. The man in the lead stunned her for a moment. He held his notebook and stood there without moving. "Uncle?" Zhang Yichen was holding a pregnant woman in his arms. When he saw Su Qing-sang, he was stunned. "Why are you here?" Su Qing-sang looked at the pregnant woman in his arms. There was already blood flowing from her lower body. She waved her hand and said, "Let's not talk about that first. What's the situation?" Not only Zhang Yichen, but there were also several soldiers standing behind him. Everyone looked nervous. "She fell just now. She seems to be in danger now. Hurry up and save her." Zhang Yichen didn't have time to explain more, so he quickly explained the situation. Su Qing-sang glanced at Zhang Yichen. The first thought in her mind was that Hu Jinyao's uncle was too lucky. Why did he always encounter people who tried to blackmail him? She didn't have time to think about other things at the moment. She hurriedly waved her hand. "Come on this way. Arrange for someone to do the procedure. I'll examine her first." Zhang Yichen breathed a sigh of relief and carried the pregnant woman into the consulting room Su Qing-sang arranged. Su Qing-sang pulled the curtain to examine the pregnant woman. Before the curtain was closed, Zhang Yichen called her. "Qing-sang? You have to save her and the baby in her belly." Su Qing-sang glanced at him and felt the seriousness in his eyes. She nodded. She silently closed the curtain. After the examination, she quickly walked out of the room. "She's in bad condition. She needs a cesarean section. I'll arrange for the operation now. Don't worry. Her life should not be in danger for now. Can you do the operation yourself?" Su Qing-sang was stunned. They were here to exchange and learn. It was not impossible for her to do the operation, but it needed to be arranged by the higher-ups. "I trust you." Zhang Yichen stared at her face. The trust in his eyes made Su Qing-sang unable to think about anything else. She nodded. "Okay, I'll do the operation." Su Qing-sang had had cesarean sections many times. It was not a big operation for her. However, when the pregnant woman entered the operating room, she found that her condition was a bit complicated. Her blood was Rh negative. The hospital's blood bank only had 2 units of Rh negative blood. The pregnant woman had lost too much blood. At least 4 units of blood had to be transfused. She reported the situation. The only thing she could do was to try her best to save the pregnant woman's life. She didn't know how the outside coordinated. Anyway, in the time she estimated, someone sent Rh negative blood. A few hours later, Su Qing-sang came out of the operating room. She was in a strange operating room with a strange assistant and a strange person. Fortunately, they cooperated well. When she came out, she found Zhang Yichen and the other soldiers were still waiting outside. Su Qing-sang took off her mask. Zhang Yichen was already standing in front of her. "How is it? How is she?" "Both mother and daughter are safe." Su Qing-sang saw the anxious look on Zhang Yichen's face. "But the baby is less than 8 months old. It is very fragile now. She needs to stay in the incubator for a few days for observation." "Okay, what about the adult?" The anesthesia is still there. She will probably wake up later. Su Qingsang glanced at Zhang Yichen. He was still in his military uniform. His chest was covered in blood, but he didn't seem to care at all. Thinking of what happened between him and her in the Hua family's old house, she felt a little awkward. Although she had been drugged and drunk before she did that, she was still Zhang Yichen's elder sister. Su Qingsang cleared her throat to divert his attention. But why were you so careless? And you ran into her again? Su Qingsang wasn't joking. You're so lucky. You run into her every time. It's not luck. Zhang Yichen's expression was serious. He looked at Su Qingsang with a touch of pain in his eyes. She is the family of a martyr. Last week, her husband died. Su Qingsang was stunned. She saw the pain in Zhang Yichen's eyes. He was your comrade? Zhang Yichen nodded almost imperceptibly. He was his comrade and his subordinate. Last week he died in the line of duty. Before he died, he happily told them that he was going to be a father soon. However, before he could become a father, something happened to him. His wife received the news yesterday and rushed over today. She came to take him home, but she was too emotional when she saw the cold tombstone. She accidentally fell on her way down the hill. They went back to the city. The nearest hospital was Runha Hospital, so they sent the pregnant woman here. She will be fine, right? His comrade was the only child in his family. The newborn child was the only child left behind by the other party. Su Qingsang's eyes were a little wet. She nodded and said, "Don't worry. The operation was successful. They will be fine." Zhang Yichen breathed a sigh of relief. He looked at Su Qingsang's surgical gown and asked, "Why are you here?" "Our hospital organized us to come here for a learning exchange." Su Qingsang seemed to have just realized that she was wearing a surgical gown. She awkwardly cleared her throat. "It's done. The operation here is done. I still have something to do. If you want, you can go to the nursery over there to see the baby." "Thank you, Qingsang." Zhang Yichen thanked her very seriously. Su Qingsang was a little embarrassed. "You're welcome. It's my job." Moreover, he was a family member of a martyr. Su Qingsang had high respect for people like him. "Well, if there's nothing else, I'll leave now. Uncle, please help yourself." She turned to leave, not noticing that Zhang Yichen's eyes lingered on her back for a few seconds. The way she called him uncle made his heart ache. He looked away and glanced at the soldiers behind him. "Let's go and see the baby." Su Qingsang had performed the operation for a few hours the night before. The next morning, the hospital considerately asked her to rest and didn't arrange any outpatient services. Su Qingsang had been busy for the past few days. She planned to go shopping this morning and buy 2 sets of clothes. The weather in Sea City had been getting hotter and hotter. She had to go through the hospital gate when she left the hospital dormitory. She was about to open the map to see if there was a department store nearby. A Hummer stopped in front of her. The body of the Hummer was painted camouflage. Su Qingsang instinctively took a step back and saw the person sitting in the car. "Uncle? You're here to see Chen Yi again?" Chen Yi was the pregnant woman from yesterday. She had woken up early this morning. Her vital signs were normal. Zhang Yichen had indeed just seen Chen Yi. He glanced at the bag in Su Qingsang's hand. "You're going out? Where are you going?" "I'll give you a ride." "No need. I'll call a taxi." Su Qingsang waved her hand. She didn't dare to trouble this uncle. "Are you familiar with Sea City?" "No. I am." "Get in the car." That didn't seem right. "Uncle, it's really no trouble. You can call me uncle too. Sea City is my territory. Get in the car and I'll give you a ride. Just treat it as a good host." Su Qingsang couldn't refuse him anymore. She bowed and got in Zhang Yichen's car. "Well, if that's the case, thank you, uncle." Chapter 594. Su Qingsang was still a little uncomfortable when she got into the car. She fastened her seatbelt and looked out of the car window. They were all relatives, so she didn't think too much about it. However, because of what happened last time when she was drunk, she always felt a little weird when facing Zhang Yichen. Zhang Yichen was driving. He glanced at her out of the corner of his eye, then turned back to focus on driving. Where are you going? Su Qingsang realized that he was talking to her. To the nearest department store. Su Qingsang didn't want to trouble him. You can just drop me off at the nearest department store. Department store? Yes. Su Qingsang cleared her throat. Any department store will do. Zhang Yichen glanced at her and turned the steering wheel in the front seat. Sea City was a city with a long history. More than 2,000 years ago, ancient buildings could often be seen on both sides of the street. Su Qingsang hadn't had a good look around since she came here. Looking at the scenery on both sides of the street, she was a little interested. Maybe she could have fun here for a couple of days after the exchange program? You've never been to Sea City before? Zhang Yichen's voice made her turn her head. She nodded and said, yes. She used to focus on her studies. Plus, her identity was sensitive, so she never thought about traveling or having fun. Are you familiar with this area? Zhang Yichen seemed to be very familiar with this place. Our unit belongs to the S Province military. Their unit was here. Of course they were familiar with it. Su Qingsang nodded and glanced at Zhang Yichen. Maybe because he was going to see Chen Yi, he wasn't wearing his military uniform. Are you okay? Won't this delay your business? She felt that he was always busy. I'm fine. I'm off today. It was still a cold voice. Su Qingsang didn't notice that Zhang Yichen's grip on the steering wheel tightened. Did he want to say that he didn't need to spend time with his girlfriend? But that wasn't the right question for her. He seemed to be 2 years older than Hua Jinyao, and he was still unmarried. Su Qingsang didn't say anything else and continued to enjoy the scenery. Fortunately, the awkward atmosphere didn't last long. Soon they arrived. This is a very famous street in Sea City. All the big department stores are here. Su Qingsang glanced at him, thanked him, and got out of the car. Zhang Yichen couldn't help but call out to her, call me when you're done. I'll pick you up. I don't think that's necessary. Su Qingsang quickly waved her hand. I can take a taxi back myself. It's hard to get a taxi here. Write down my phone number. Call me when you're done. Zhang Yichen said blandly. There's really no need. Su Qingsang wanted to say no, but Zhang Yichen had no intention of driving away. Feeling a little helpless, Su Qingsang took out her phone to record his number. She decided that she would take a taxi home later. She would never let Zhang Yichen pick her up. Zhang Yichen watched as she wrote down his number, then asked her to try it again. Hearing his phone ring, he finally let her go. After Su Qingsang left, he looked at the number displayed on the screen and saved it. He struggled for a long time just to save a name. In the end, he entered her full name, Su Qingsang. He didn't leave right away. Instead, he parked the car in the parking lot. He looked back in the direction of the department store, lost in thought. After a long time, he hit the steering wheel hard. He quickly got out of the car. Zhang Yichen told her that he didn't want to be with Su Qingsang. He just had something to buy. Yes, he had something to buy too. For example, a gift for his mother. It was almost Hua Yangxiu's birthday. When he entered the department store, Zhang Yichen wanted to punch himself in the face. What was he doing? Su Qingsang was married. She was Hua Jinyao's wife. It was useless for him to be like this. He shook his head and strode towards the outside. However, as soon as he walked outside, he felt the ground shake. Zhang Yichen's first thought was that it was an earthquake. Without thinking, he lay down, face down, grabbed the railing, and covered his head and the back of his neck with one hand. The ground was still shaking violently. Suddenly, Zhang Yichen thought of something. He quickly stood up and ran into the department store. There were already people running outside. Screams could be heard all around. Zhang Yichen wanted to go through the crowd and continue inside. However, the glass door of the department store was shattered. Zhang Yichen covered his head and squatted down again. Soon, it wasn't just the glass. The walls of the building began to crack. The gravel, cement, and dust on top of it fell like flying. Some people were hit by stones and some fell. Screams and howls could be heard all around. When a middle-aged man was about to be hit by a stone, Zhang Yichen quickly pulled him up. The man thanked him, but his legs were so weak that he couldn't stand up at all. Go, Go to an open place and put your hands on your head." After saying that, Zhang Yichen looked at the scene in front of him and thought that Su Qingsang was still inside. He immediately took out his phone and called Su Qingsang, but no one answered. The surroundings were still shaking. He called again, but still no one answered. Seeing that no one was picking up the phone, he couldn't care less anymore and rushed into the department store. The shaking inside was even worse than the outside. Things kept crashing down and falling. Zhang Yichen regretted it very much. He shouldn't have asked Su Qingsang to take his phone number. He should have gone in with her. The shaking was still going on. Zhang Yichen couldn't go forward anymore. Everyone around him was screaming as they ran outside. He was the only one who walked inside. He looked at those people running outside. None of them was Su Qingsang. He became more and more anxious. The chandelier on the ceiling fell in his direction. He quickly dodged to the side and avoided it. People kept running outside, blocking his way. Zhang Yichen was anxious. He said loudly, "Don't panic. Everyone bend down, cover your head, and run outside." At this moment, someone spoke, and the people who were running around blindly seemed to have found their direction. Zhang Yichen couldn't care less about those people. All his energy was now focused on finding Su Qingsang. The women's department was on the second floor. If Su Qingsang was here to buy clothes, she must be on the second floor. The stairs were already broken. Some people were so scared that they didn't dare to come down. The escalator had stopped a long time ago. But he could still go forward. Zhang Yichen exerted the physical strength he had developed in the army. He dashed up as fast as he could. Regardless of the shaking ground, he rushed straight to the most dangerous place. There were fewer people on the second floor than on the first floor. When the earthquake happened just now, everyone ran outside with all their might. Zhang Yichen didn't know where Su Qingsang was, so he could only search the clothing stores one by one. As he searched, he dodged the falling cement and dust. At the same time, he didn't forget to call Su Qingsang. He could feel the ground shaking more violently under his feet. But Su Qingsang didn't answer the phone. He was anxious, so he ran even faster. He kept calling, running, and dodging objects that might fall on him. He was in a sorry state. While he was dodging, he heard a phone ringing. It was from a shop next to him. Zhang Yichen was stunned. He dodged a shop sign that was about to fall, looked at the shop in front of him, which was blocked by broken glass and a counter. He hung up the phone and found that the ringing had stopped. He called again and found that it was ringing again. Zhang Yichen's eyes became hot. He looked at the name of the shop and immediately knew that Su Qingsang was inside. The shaking stopped at that moment. Zhang Yichen pushed the counter open and went inside. Other than the counter, there were two more shelves, which were blocking his way. Zhang Yichen didn't hang up the phone. He heard the ringing getting louder. He walked forward and seemed to step on something. He stopped and found a female shop assistant lying under the shelf. He squatted down and found that the back of the female shop assistant's head was bleeding. She was no longer breathing. Zhang Yichen's heart skipped a beat. He felt as if his whole heart was twisting. Without thinking, he pushed the shelf away and moved the female shop assistant's body to the side. He gave the shop assistant a deep look, then looked around. Other than the female shop assistant, he didn't see anyone else. The phone was still ringing. Next to it was the fitting room. Zhang Yichen thought that Su Qingsang was here to buy clothes, so she might be trying on clothes here. Without thinking, he walked toward the fitting room. The wooden door of the fitting room had fallen. Half of it was stuck in the door. Zhang Yichen's heart was beating fast. Even though he had participated in a mission 1,000 times more dangerous than this, it didn't make him feel better. He pulled the door open forcefully and saw Su Qingsang lying there. She was holding a piece of clothing in her hand. She seemed to have lost consciousness. There were no windows in the fitting room, and the electricity in the building had been cut off. He could only see Su Qingsang's face with the dim light coming in from outside. There was no blood on her face, but there was a lot of dust on it. Her legs were curled up, and her body was leaning against a chair. There was no obvious blood stain. He put his hand on the tip of her nose and found that she was still breathing. He was more or less relieved. Su Qingsang? Su Qingsang? Zhang Yichen called her twice, but there was no response. He squatted down beside her, about to carry her and leave, but unexpectedly, there was another violent shaking behind him. He saw the lamp above his head shake and was about to fall. It was a critical moment. Zhang Yichen hurriedly picked up the door that had just fallen and placed it above the two of them. As expected, the lamp fell, and then there was an even more violent shaking. Su Qingsang's body was leaning against the chair, and Zhang Yichen was holding the door. No matter how many things fell from above, he didn't move at all. When the shaking stopped, Zhang Yichen found that he and Su Qingsang were trapped. He didn't know how many pieces of cement and wall had fallen outside. The fitting room was completely blocked. The shaking continued. Zhang Yichen gritted his teeth and held the door. He held Su Qingsang up with one hand and let her lean against him. The ground was shaking under their feet, and the dust kept falling above their heads. Zhang Yichen didn't dare to move, and he couldn't. At this moment, he was even glad that the shaking just now had shaken the door off. Otherwise, the two of them might have been buried. After a long time, the shaking finally stopped. Zhang Yichen's back was numb. He tried to look around. He pushed the door against one of the cracked walls. In this way, the fitting room formed a very narrow triangle. He took advantage of this gap and squatted down again. Qingsang? Su Qingsang? Still no response. He gritted his teeth and reached out to the back of Su Qingsang's head. Sure enough, he felt a lump there. It was probably hit by something just now. Su Qingsang, wake up. Wake up. It was very dark inside. Zhang Yichen took out his phone and turned on the light. In the dust and stones, he kept calling Su Qingsang's name. After a long time, Su Qingsang finally regained some consciousness. She was very uncomfortable and dizzy. The voice that kept calling her sounded a little familiar. She opened her eyes and saw a dirty face under the dim blue light. Su Qingsang was startled and instinctively stepped back. However, before she could step back, she felt a sharp pain in the back of her head. She snorted and instinctively raised her hand to cover the back of her head. Qingsang, you're awake? Zhang Yichen breathed a sigh of relief. The familiar voice made Su Qingsang look at the person in front of her again. Uncle? Why was he here? And Su Qingsang almost instantly remembered. This is an earthquake? She had always known. S province was a province with a lot of earthquakes. Every year, there would be earthquakes from time to time. However, she never thought that she would encounter an earthquake in her lifetime. It's an earthquake. Zhang Yichen looked at her and didn't miss that he had been touching the back of her head. You seem to have been hit by something. Are you okay? Su Qingsang's voice was a little hoarse. She rubbed the back of her head and felt that it was very painful. She also remembered that she had thought of buying a few clothes casually. After shopping for a while, she directly chose this shop. She liked the clothes and was about to try them on, but she didn't expect that something like this would happen before she could change. She shook her head. It was a little painful, but fortunately she didn't feel nauseous. There shouldn't be any internal injuries. She tried to stand up and realized what was in front of her. There was a chair behind her. Her bag was still on the chair. In front of her was Zhang Yichen. There was a door panel behind Zhang Yichen. The door panel was stuck between the stone and the wall, forming a triangle. The space was very small, and Zhang Yichen blocked most of it. She was almost sitting against him. If she wanted to stand up, she would definitely bump into Zhang Yichen. Su Qingsang didn't know how to react for a moment. She tried to move her limbs. Fortunately, she could still move them. She couldn't help but look up at Zhang Yichen. His face was completely gray, and so was his hair. He didn't look good. One of his arms was supporting the side of the door panel so that it wouldn't fall. He was still holding a phone in his other hand. The light from the phone didn't make the space completely dark. Why are you here? I came to find you. Zhang Yichen's voice was a little cold. Su Qingsang wasn't stupid. She had guessed it before, and this was just a confirmation. You came to save me? Yes. Zhang Yichen didn't deny it. Su Qingsang looked at him. Her first reaction was that he came to save her because she was Hua Jinyao's wife. Her second reaction was that he was a soldier. This was his business to begin with. Thank you. You're welcome. After a very polite conversation, Su Qingsang didn't know what else to say. She suddenly remembered that she had brought her bag with her to try on clothes. Where was her bag? She had put it on the chair, but now the chair was empty. It must have moved during the earthquake. With the light above her head, she soon saw it. Her bag was buried in the pile of stones next to the chair. Su Qingsang took out her phone. She was glad that she had a good habit of charging her phone every day before going out. The battery was full. She swiped the screen and saw more than a dozen missed calls, all from Zhang Yichen. Did you call me? Zhang Yichen nodded. Only now did he have time to think about calling the police for help. However, he was afraid that no one would come now. The earthquake had just happened, so the police must have been ringing off the hook. It would take some time for the higher-ups to make arrangements. He just hoped that it would be faster. He wanted to tell Su Qingsang that it was useless to call the police now, but he didn't expect that she would call Hu Jinyao. Zhang Yichen forced himself to avert his eyes. However, the space was so small that he couldn't stop looking at her even if he wanted to. Before Su Qingsang could pull out Hu Jinyao's phone, the earthquake started again. Her hand shook, and she could barely hold her phone. She was scared and couldn't help but look up. There was the sound of things being smashed above the door. She could even feel that the space they were in was shaking more and more violently. She couldn't help but want to grab something to stand up. Don't move. Zhang Yichen was afraid that the door would fall down, so he kept holding it with one hand and his back. He looked at Su Qingsang and said in a very soft voice, "Lean on me quick. Don't move." Su Qingsang didn't dare to move, but she didn't approach Zhang Yichen. Instead, she leaned her body tightly against the chair. She held the phone in her hand tightly. Zhang Yichen's phone rang. He glanced at Su Qingsang and picked it up. The call was from the army, saying that there was an earthquake and asking him to come back as soon as possible. They needed to join the rescue. "Sorry, I can't come now." Zhang Yichen's voice was very soft. He glanced at Su Qingsang from the corner of his eyes and then looked away. "I'm trapped here in Chunwei department store. I can't get out for the time being." "What?" The voice on the other end of the line sounded like he couldn't believe it. After asking for Zhang Yichen's location, the other side said that they would send people to rescue him. Zhang Yichen told him the address and the situation in front of him. After hanging up, he looked at Su Qingsang. "Don't worry. Wait for them to come. When they come, we'll be safe." Su Qingsang nodded. At this time, she could only calm down. The aftershocks were still going on. Su Qingsang endured the pain of the shaking and called Hu Jinyao. No one answered the phone. Su Qingsang thought about the time. He should be in a morning meeting. She called again, but before she could pick up, a new round of shaking began. The sound of the phone began to become unstable. Su Qingsang heard Hu Jinyao's voice coming from the other end of the line. "Qingsang, Jinyao, I." As soon as he said the word "I," the phone was cut off. Su Qingsang looked at the phone screen with a conflicted expression. She couldn't believe that the signal was cut off at this time. The ground was still shaking. Su Qingsang even had a feeling that she would fall immediately. She couldn't help but look up at Zhang Yichen. It's normal for the phone to have no signal during an earthquake. Wait a minute. Maybe it will recover later. Later? Su Qingsang didn't dare to think about it. She looked at the narrow environment in front of her and the light from Zhang Yichen's phone. "Can we get out now?" The shaking came from time to time. Not every shaking was very violent, but it made people feel even more uncomfortable. Zhang Yichen didn't answer her question. He tried to move his back. From time to time, the sound of things falling on the door could be heard. Those sounds could only make people feel more and more uneasy. He glanced at Su Qingsang and said, "I'm afraid we can't get out for the time being. Now we can only wait for the earthquake to stop, or for someone to come and save us." He didn't know how many pieces of wall and cement were pressed against the outside. He could only see that the door had been blocked. He didn't know what the situation outside was either. He could only guess. But what he knew was that they wouldn't be able to get out of here for a while. Su Qingsang looked at him holding the door. Are you tired? Why don't I do it?" Zhang Yichen glanced at her and didn't say anything. The shaking seemed to have stopped for a moment. Su Qingsang tried to move her feet, but the space in front of her was too narrow. She couldn't stand up at all. She clenched her phone, looked at the entrance of the fitting room, and said, "Why don't we try and see if we can get out of here?" As soon as she finished speaking, the shaking became even stronger. Su Qingsang couldn't help but turn pale. "Stay there, lean against that chair. Don't move," Zhang Yichen said in a low voice. Zhang Yichen said in a low voice. Su Qingsang didn't dare to move. She leaned against the chair tightly, using this action to calm her heart. They didn't even have to wait for her to get out. They might not even be able to make it through the current situation. Even if they did get out, if another earthquake like this happened, they might be crushed to death as soon as they got out. She had seen many deaths, but she never thought that one day she would be in a situation like this. The huge wave of shaking finally stopped. It was so quiet that Su Qingsang could hear her own heartbeat. She didn't have time to feel lucky that she survived this time. From the corner of her eye, she saw that Zhang Yichen didn't look too well. "You, uncle, are you okay?" She looked at Zhang Yichen from head to toe and saw that his arm was bleeding. When the shaking was the strongest, Zhang Yichen only wanted to protect Su Qingsang from being hit. He held the door and bore most of the weight, along with the falling pieces of cement. However, he didn't expect that a piece of cement would hit his arm when it was shaking. Its sharp side had cut a wound on his arm. It was bleeding. Chapter 595. Are you hurt? Su Qingsang looked at his arm and quickly realized that. It's nothing. While speaking, Zhang Yichen tried to move his back. Something kept falling from the top of the door. It didn't shake anymore. He put the door back in place and held it tight. After doing this, he relaxed and sat on the ground. He was tall and small. Sitting like this, he was closer to Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang didn't have the time to care about the distance between them. She looked at his bleeding wound. "Let me bandage it for you." "No, it's nothing. I still need to bandage it. What if it gets infected?" As Su Qingsang spoke, she rummaged through her bag again. There was a tissue in it. She found it and wiped the blood off Zhang Yichen's hand. She saw the wound clearly. It was a bit deep and seemed to be serious. He said he was fine. Su Qingsang couldn't help but look at him again, then leaned forward a little. "Don't say no. It's a small wound, but you have to be careful at a time like this." She was a doctor, so it was easy for her to do this. There were no other tools in the room. She first used a tissue to clean his wound. Looking at the piece of red flesh that had been turned over, she felt the pain. There was no gauze here, but the shirt she had just brought in seemed to be made of cotton. It was dirty now. She thought for a while, then tore the bottom of the shirt into pieces, wrapped the wound with a tissue, and tied it with a piece of cloth. "I'm sorry. We don't have much space here, so we can only do this. When you get out of here, we can bandage it again." She spoke as she tied up his wound. The two of them were very close. There was dust all around them, but Zhang Yichen could see through her dusty face and see what was inside. For some reason, his heart was beating fast. He tried to turn his face away. "It's done." Su Qingsang withdrew her hand and stepped back instinctively. However, she accidentally bumped into a chair. She snorted. "Careful." Zhang Yichen held her with his uninjured hand. "Thank you." Su Qingsang thanked him in a low voice. Zhang Yichen withdrew his hand and said calmly, "Thank you." "It's nothing. It's my duty." Su Qingsang actually wanted to thank him. If he hadn't been there to block most of the falling cement blocks with the door, she would have been crushed to death. The space was small, so Su Qingsang and Zhang Yichen didn't have much space to move around. Such a scene undoubtedly made her uncomfortable. She couldn't help but take out her phone and try calling Hu Jinyao again. This time, there was no signal. Su Qingsang was frustrated that she couldn't get through. She realized that it might not be suitable for her to go out for an exchange next time. She had only gone out twice in total. One time, she encountered a mudslide, and the other time, she encountered an earthquake. What kind of disaster physique was this? During an earthquake, the Earth's crust will move violently and the magnetic field will be chaotic. which will affect the phone signal. Zhang Yichen's voice brought her back to reality. She lowered her head and realized that she had been calling Hua Jinyao. She shook her head and put her phone back into her bag. Forget it. I'll just use it as a light. You can use mine when your phone runs out of battery. Zhang Yichen didn't object. It was so quiet that Su Qingsang couldn't hear a single sound. She thought of the shop assistant who gave her the clothes when she came in to try on the clothes. There seems to be a shop assistant outside. Did you see her when you came in? Actually, there were two of them. The other shop assistant had gone to get the clothes that she had her eyes on, so there was only one shop assistant left. I saw her. Zhang Yichen's voice was very soft. He glanced at Su Qingsang, and the look in his eyes made Su Qingsang's heart skip a beat. When I came to find you just now, she was already not breathing. She must have been hit by something. The earthquake came too suddenly. They didn't even have time to react. Su Qingsang bit her lip. She didn't know what to say at this moment. Life was so fragile. She had seen so many births and deaths, but she still couldn't help but feel sad. The shop assistant had just been happily recommending the new summer clothes to her. She had been talking to her, but now she had stopped breathing. She was not far from her. Su Qingsang's eyes were a little red. She blinked and tried to suppress the emotion. The light in the small space was dim, but Zhang Yichen didn't miss the look on her face. He tightened his grip on her hand, then loosened it and turned his face away, as if nothing had happened. Su Qingsang didn't have much time to feel sad. She quickly began to think about the problem in front of her. Will we stay here for a long time? Not necessarily. Zhang Yichen glanced in the direction of the fitting room's door. It had been shaking so violently just now. He didn't know what the situation outside was like. The door was blocked, and there were gravel outside. He could try to move the gravel away, but if there was an aftershock, it would be very dangerous to dig from the inside to the outside. Can we only wait for someone to come and save us? Zhang Yichen glanced at her and put the phone in her hand. He turned around and wanted to try to move the stones. However, as soon as he moved, he could feel dust and debris falling from the top of his head. Stop. Su Qingsang was frightened. She quickly stopped him and said, "We should wait for someone to come and save us." Zhang Yichen glanced at her. This was indeed the only way. He put the door above the two of them again. At this moment, he was even glad that the door of the fitting room was made of wood, and the quality was good. There was another silence. She bit her lip as if she was thinking about what to say. She was prepared to die. Before she died, she wanted to leave a message for the person she loved the most in the world. He blinked and felt a little sad. Looking at Su Qingsang, he made up his mind. He wouldn't let her die here, even if he had to pay with his life. Su Qingsang not only sent messages to Hua Jinyao, but also to Li Qianxue, Su Yusin, Su Qinghui, Xiang Kaiping, and Shi Mengwan. She didn't know when the signal would come back. She didn't even know if they could see the message. But there was a record on the phone. If she really died, she hoped that they would see it. She sent the message to everyone she cared about. Finally, she looked at the screen in her hand. It was on the call window between her and Hua Jinyao. There was only one sentence on the screen. "Hua Jinyao, when I go back this time, let's have a child, okay?" In the 31 years of Hua Jinyao's life, he lived a lonely life. He was hated by his birth mother and ignored by his father. Although old Master Hua cared about him, it couldn't replace the love of his parents. If he had a child, then even if she was gone, he believed that the child could be with him. Su Qingsang clenched the phone and sent the last 6 words. "Hua Jinyao, I love you." Looking at the message waiting to be sent, she calmly put the phone back into her bag. When she looked up, she found that Zhang Yichen was still staring at her. She cleared her throat uncomfortably. "Don't you have anyone you want to talk to? For example, a girlfriend or family?" Zhang Yichen looked at her without saying anything. He did. How could he not? He had lived for more than 30 years, but the first time he fell in love with a married woman. And she was the wife of his nephew. It was so ironic. He was destined to be unable to say those words. No. Why not? Didn't he have anything to say to his parents and family? Zhang Yichen looked at an unknown spot behind Su Qingseng. His voice was very low. From the day I put on the uniform, I was prepared to sacrifice. Since he had decided from the first day, he might die on the battlefield one day, or he might die in an accident one day. His family naturally knew that, so there was no such thing as a will. All the members of the Zhang family, whether it was him or his father, were prepared for such a thing. If there was anything he regretted, it was that he didn't die on the battlefield. Also, his eyes fell on Su Qingsang's face, and he found that she was a little touched. He suddenly felt uncomfortable, so he cleared his throat and said, "You should rest for a while. Save your energy. I don't know how long we have to wait." Su Qingsang was indeed very touched. She didn't have much contact with soldiers, but in her mind, they were all superior. Zhang Yichen's words shocked her. She couldn't help but look at him a few more times. She should listen to him and rest first to save her energy. After all, they didn't know how long it would take for the rescue team to arrive. Su Qingsang's head had been hit just now. She couldn't help but fall asleep while sitting. Zhang Yichen didn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. He looked at Su Qingsang. It had been about 3 hours since the earthquake. The golden time for rescue was 72 hours. 3 days. They had to find a way to get out of here within 3 days, or someone would come to rescue them within 3 days. There was no signal on the phone, the passage was blocked, and there was no way to contact the outside world in this enclosed space. Zhang Yichen's brows were tightly furrowed, and he didn't have the mood to think more. He dimmed the light of his phone and put it in his pocket. This way, he could have a light source and save electricity. Feeling that there was no more vibration outside, he closed his eyes and let himself rest for a while. However, this kind of rest didn't last long. A huge aftershock began again. Zhang Yichen opened his eyes immediately. He looked at the door panel above him first. It was shaking, but not violently. He was at a good angle, and the door panel covered him and Su Qingsang perfectly without suffocating them. But he knew that this wouldn't last long. He could feel that the air here was getting thinner and thinner. Su Qingsang? Su Qingsang? He called Su Qingsang twice, but she didn't respond. Zhang Yichen's face suddenly became anxious. Su Qingsang? Su Qingsang, wake up, wake up. Su Qingsang didn't wake up. She was woken up by Zhang Yichen just now, but in fact, the injury on the back of her head still affected her to a certain extent. In addition, the air here was getting thinner and thinner. Zhang Yichen was anxious and reached out to shake her arm. But Su Qingsang didn't react at all. Her eyes were tightly closed, and she seemed to be in a deep sleep. Zhang Yichen was anxious. He looked around. There were so many stones outside. Could they really hold on for 3 days? Su Qingsang? Time passed bit by bit, but Su Qingsang showed no signs of waking up. Zhang Yichen called out a few times, but there was no response. He knew that in the face of such a disaster, the higher-ups would definitely organize a rescue as soon as possible. But now that the aftershocks were continuous, even if they wanted to come and rescue, it would take time. Moreover, how could he let them avoid these aftershocks first? Su Qingsang? He called out again, but Su Qingsang still didn't respond. He raised his hand and looked at the time. It had already been 12 hours since the earthquake. In other words, it was already night, and Su Qingsang hadn't woken up yet. Zhang Yichen tried a few more times to touch Su Qingsang's forehead and found that her forehead was very hot. She actually had a fever at such a time? Su Qingsang? Su Qingsang? Zhang Yichen called out her name, but Su Qingsang didn't respond at all. The surroundings were still shaking. Zhang Yichen had no choice but to help her up and make her sit more comfortably against the chair. He turned around and looked at the exit just now. It was now full of boulders, cement blocks, and wall blocks. He tried to push a stone outside, but just like before, stones immediately began to fall from above. It didn't work at all. If he really did that, he would probably be smashed to death before he could get out. After locking the door again, Zhang Yichen sat back in his original position. His gaze fell on Su Qingsang's face. Her forehead was burning hot, and she was unconscious. Zhang Yichen patted her shoulder, but Su Qingsang still didn't wake up. Her face was pale, and her lips were beginning to turn white and dry. Su Qingsang needed to drink water now, but where was the water here? Zhang Yichen looked at Su Qingsang's face for a long time. As time passed, her breathing became heavier, and her face became paler. This discovery made him frown so hard that he could almost squeeze a mosquito to death. Especially when Su Qingsang unconsciously licked her lips and furrowed her brows. After staring at Su Qingsang's face for a long time, he suddenly took out a Swiss Army knife from his pocket. His eyes didn't leave Su Qingsang's face, but he raised the knife and slashed it down. Bright red blood flowed out. Su Qingsang woke up in the temporary tent set up by the hospital. The moment she opened her eyes, she thought she was hallucinating. She actually saw Hua Jinyao? This didn't make sense. She closed her eyes again. She was still a little unconscious. But what she remembered was that there was an earthquake. There was an earthquake. She was locked in that small fitting room with Zhang Yichen. What happened after that? She remembered that she seemed to have fallen asleep. When she was in a daze, she felt very uncomfortable, very hot, and very thirsty. But then someone gave her water to drink. She drank the water, felt much better, and fell asleep again. What happened after that? And where was Zhang Yichen? Why did she remember that she seemed to be with Zhang Yichen? She opened her eyes again, and this time, the person she saw was still Hua Jinyao. Hua Jinyao? Qingsang, you're awake. You're awake? Hua Jinyao hugged her tightly and forcefully. He used almost all of his strength on her. Su Qingsang felt a little pain from his hug and felt a little uncomfortable. She blinked and motioned for Hua Jinyao to let go of her. But how could Hua Jinyao let go of her? You're awake. That's great. You're awake. That's great. She was awake. Su Qingsang wanted to speak, but she found that her throat was uncomfortably hoarse. Hua Jinyao let go of her, took a cup from the side, and put it to her lips. Come, don't speak first. You must be feeling very uncomfortable now. Drink some water first. Su Qingsang didn't speak. She did feel very thirsty. She drank all the water in the cup and felt much better. Only then did she look at Hua Jinyao. At first glance, she realized that Hua Jinyao didn't look good. His eyes were bloodshot, and his face didn't look good. His chin and cheeks were covered with bruises, and he looked dispirited. You. Su Qingsang raised her hand to touch Hua Jinyao's face. How did you become like this? Did I become ugly? Yes. I'm so ugly. Su Qingsang nodded, but there was no disgust in her eyes. Instead, there was a hint of heartache. Hua Jinyao smiled. He held Su Qingsang's hand and kissed it. Yes, I'm so ugly now. Do you dislike me? No. Su Qingsang shook her head. You're the most handsome in my heart. Really? Of course it's true. Su Qingsang nodded, but found that this movement made her a little dizzy. Don't talk. Have a good rest first. Hua Jinyao supported her and let her continue to lie down. Su Qingsang was about to lie down, but she didn't forget to ask him, by the way, why are you here? How long has it been? How's it outside? And, don't talk. I'll tell you what you want to know slowly. Su Qingsang was silent. She looked around and realized that she was the only one in the tent. I received your call that day. But you hung up. At first, Hua Jinyao thought that Su Qingsang had accidentally pressed the wrong button. However, he had a feeling of unease before. He immediately called Su Qingsang back. However, Su Qingsang didn't pick up the phone. Not only did she not pick up the phone, but she also couldn't get through to him. He became more and more worried. Before he could continue calling back, Yang Wenchang brought him a piece of bad news that shocked him. There was an earthquake in Sea City. He was completely dumbfounded. He originally thought that something might have happened to Su Qingsang, but he didn't expect it to be an earthquake. He couldn't care less about anything else. He kept trying to contact her, but it was useless. Hua Jinyao knew that there was an earthquake here, so how could he sit still? He wanted to rush to Sea City, but no one was allowed to come. Other than the rescue, there were also volunteers. If anyone else came, they would only cause trouble. Hua Jinyao wasn't here to cause trouble. He was here to find someone. He immediately donated a large sum of supplies to the disaster area. Then he used this sum of supplies to come to Sea City. After he arrived, he began to ask the relevant rescue personnel to look for Su Qingsang. The hospital where Su Qingsang was at was the largest hospital in Sea City. It should be easy to find her. It wasn't easy for him to contact the hospital and Sun Huiya. However, she told him that Su Qingsang had left early in the morning and she didn't know where she was now. When the earthquake happened, the doctor who came with Sun Huiya was in the clinic. Her clinic was on the first floor, so when the earthquake happened, she immediately ran out. Chapter 596. Su Qingsang wasn't in the hospital, and she couldn't be contacted. Su Qingsang's condition was unknown. Every piece of news stimulated Hua Jinyao's nerves, especially when he found out that Su Qingsang had gone out to buy clothes. He really wanted to slap himself. When Su Qingsang wanted to pack her luggage, he should have asked her to bring more clothes and buy things in Sea City. It was all right now. She was the only one in trouble. Sea City was so big and there were so many department stores. Hua Jinyao had no idea which department store he should go to find Su Qingsang. At this moment he thought of Zhang Yichen. He knew that Zhang Yichen's unit was here. It would be much easier for him to find Zhang Yichen than to find Zhang Yichen himself. However, when he contacted Zhang Yichen's unit, he found out that Zhang Yichen was not in the unit. Not only was he not in the unit, but he seemed to have experienced an earthquake as well. Hua Jinyao had a bad feeling. That kind of premonition came from the fact that both Zhang Yichen and Su Qingsang had encountered an earthquake at the same time. They lost contact with Su Qingsang for 2 days and 2 nights. From the moment Hua Jinyao received the news to the moment he lost contact with Su Qingsang for 2 days, Hua Jinyao felt as if his heart was being grasped by someone. He couldn't calm down at all. Whenever he thought that something might happen to Su Qingsang, he couldn't stay calm. He had no choice but to look for his great-aunt, Hua Yangxiu. Hua Yangxiu was also anxious, because Zhang Yichen was also in trouble. Who was Zhang Yichen? He was the youngest son of the district commander, and was already a senior colonel. The last thing Hua Yangxiu heard was that Zhang Yichen was trapped in Chunwei department store. There were 3 Chunwei department stores in Sea City. She wondered which one Zhang Yichen would end up in. There was no signal on the phone. When the signal was restored, they began to locate Zhang Yichen. Hua Jinyao's heart skipped a beat when he found out that Zhang Yichen was in the department store. He trusted Zhang Yichen and Su Qingsang. He believed that it was impossible for the two of them to have any interaction. That was until he got the exact news that Zhang Yichen was buried in a department store. He rushed over immediately. He didn't know why he had to go there. He believed that Zhang Yichen couldn't be with Su Qingsang. However, when he finally found Zhang Yichen, Hua Jinyao felt lucky. She was glad that Zhang Yichen was with Su Qingsang at that time. For the rest of his life, he would never forget what he had seen, that scene, and Jinyao? Su Qingsang glanced at Hua Jinyao, wondering why he was daydreaming again. Hua Jinyao stopped thinking and looked into Su Qingsang's eyes. The corners of his mouth twitched. What happened? Now that Su Qingsang had woken up, she naturally remembered something. I remember that I was with uncle. How is he? Su Qingsang was very grateful to Zhang Yichen. If he hadn't arrived in time and shielded her with the door, she would have been crushed to death. It was a fact that Zhang Yichen had saved her life. He's fine. Hua Jinyao looked at Su Qingsang's face and asked the question. Why are you with uncle? Su Qingsang had just woken up when she was hit on the back of her head. At that time she thought she was fine, but in fact she was. She wasn't in good spirits at the moment, so she didn't notice the slight jealousy in Hua Jinyao's words. I was going to buy some clothes. Uncle happened to come to the hospital to see a pregnant woman. He said that he was familiar with Sea City, so he gave me a ride. Hua Jinyao didn't say anything. He just held Su Qingsang's hand and said, Uncle came to the hospital to see a pregnant woman? Su Qingsang nodded. Thinking of Chen Yi, she suddenly sat up again. How are Director's son and the others? Are they okay? And, all right. Don't worry about others for now. Hua Jinyao held her hand and pressed her back. You're very weak now. What you need to do is to rest well. Are they all okay? All? Director Sun, Ling Fei, Dr. Chen, and Dr. Li are all okay? They're all okay. Hua Jinyao nodded. When the earthquake came, Dr. Sun and the others happened to be in the clinic on the first floor. They ran outside as soon as the earthquake happened. So they're all right. That's good. Su Qingsang breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that Director Sun and the others were all right. Where are they now? There were a lot of casualties. They're all going to help now. Hua Jinyao looked at Su Qingsang and suddenly gently hugged her body in his arms. Qingsang, no matter where there's such an exchange in the future, don't go. Okay? He didn't say anything else, but Su Qingsang could understand what he meant. She had only gone out twice in total. One was a mudslide, and the other was an earthquake. Her luck couldn't be any better. How can there be a next time? Su Qingsang had the same thought, but she really didn't think that her luck would always be so good. These are all coincidences. The probability is low. I don't care. Anyway, you're not allowed to go next time. Next time, I won't go anywhere other than to study. Okay? You can't study either. Hua Jinyao couldn't describe his feelings when he found out that there was an earthquake in the place where Su Qingsang was. He never wanted to experience that kind of feeling again in his life. Su Qingsang looked at him, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. There seemed to be a hint of helplessness. She was still a little listless. Hua Jinyao got up and took a bowl of porridge from the side. There's only this now. Simple porridge. Boil it with boiling water. Make do with it. There were still aftershocks from time to time, and there were still many disaster victims who hadn't been settled down. These were brought over by Hua Jinyao. The porridge could be drunk with boiling water, but the taste couldn't be compared to the porridge at home. Why would I care about these things now? It's good enough that I have something to eat. She was indeed hungry. She watched as Hua Jinyao brought the porridge over. By the way, how many days has it been since the earthquake? Today is the 3rd day. The 4th day? Su Qingsang blinked. Then how many days was I trapped in there? Why don't I remember? 2 days. Hua Jinyao really felt a lingering fear when he said this. You were trapped for 2 days. After you were rescued and confirmed that your life was not in danger, you were placed here. After you were rescued, you slept for an entire day. Su Qingsang nodded. She wanted to ask more, but Hua Jinyao had already started feeding her porridge. She could only eat first. The porridge didn't taste good, but at this time, under such conditions, Su Qingsang couldn't be picky. After finishing a bowl of porridge, Hua Jinyao put the bowl aside. Is there anything else you want to eat? I'll ask Yang Wenchang to try his best to send it over. The first batch of supplies were instant noodles, bread, biscuits, and so on. It would take some time for a hot meal to be eaten. It's okay. I understand. Su Qingsang waved her hand. She listened for a while. From time to time, she could hear the sound of sirens and people coming and going outside. Where are we now? The empty space outside the hospital. They're all temporary tents. How's the hospital? Can't they be used? Of course not. The aftershocks are still there. It's too dangerous to stay inside. Su Qingsang pursed her lips. Are the casualties very high? Yes. Hua Jinyao nodded. The statistics showed that there were already hundreds of people. There were still those who were missing or not found. Su Qingsang was in a bad mood, and Hua Jinyao didn't know what to say. In the face of such a disaster, human strength was too small. Hua Jinyao, I feel terrible. For those who left, those who were missing, and those who were injured. I know. Hua Jinyao wasn't in a good mood either. He was born into a good family. Other than the kidnapping when he was young, which caused him to suffer all kinds of torture. It was also the first time he had seen such a tragic situation. I've already asked someone to send another batch of supplies over. However, we can't help with the rescue for the time being. They're more professional than us. Don't think too much. Rest well. Your body is still very weak. Su Qingsang looked at him and nodded heavily. The wind and rain were raging outside, but inside the small tent, it formed a small world of its own. Su Qingsang leaned her face against Hua Jinyao's chest. Her eyes were a little moist. She had survived. She had survived when she thought she was going to die. However, there were some people who weren't as lucky as she was. Hu Jinyao. Yes. I sent you a message. Did you see it? No. But I found your phone. It's over there, but it's out of battery. What message did you send? Hu Jinyao. Let's go back and have a child. Hu Jinyao was stunned for a moment. He lowered his head to look at Su Qingsang, and she happened to look up at him. Her eyes were glistening with tears. There seemed to be a lot to say. Didn't you say we'll talk about it later? But I don't want to be late. Su Qingsang bit her lip. I almost died this time. When I was about to die, I was thinking that I hadn't given you a child yet. She wrapped her arms around his waist and rubbed her little face against his chest. At that time, I really regretted it, and I really regretted it. If I had a child, then if I was gone, that... She couldn't finish her sentence because Hu Jinyao covered her lips. That day won't come. Looking into Su Qingsang's eyes, he leaned over and kissed her on the eyelid. Qingsang, that day won't come. I won't let you leave me. But, no buts. Hu Jinyao's voice was firm. You are you, and the child is the child. No one can replace you. Even if you give birth to a child for me. I don't need anyone else. I only need you. Su Qingsang's eyes turned red again. She blinked her eyes and resisted the urge to cry. After being married to Hu Jinyao for a year, these were the most touching words she had ever heard from him. But I want a child. A child that belongs to me and you. We'll have children. Hu Jinyao pressed his forehead against hers. Don't think too much. When your body recovers, when we return to Rong City, we'll have as many as you want. We'll have as many as you want. Okay? He didn't object. Su Qingsang wanted to cry again. She nodded and said in a trembling voice, Let's have two, okay? One boy and one girl. It's best to have a boy first and then a girl. That way, the older brother can protect the younger sister. I'll listen to you. Hu Jinyao wrapped his arms around her waist. Su Qingsang looked at him and said softly, It's not bad to have twins. We'll solve it at once, right? Yes. Su Qingsang smiled with tears in her eyes. When the time comes, we'll each hold one and go out together. We'll take them to see the fallen leaves in autumn, and we'll take them to see the cherry blossoms in spring. Okay. Hu Jinyao didn't object. He agreed to everything. Su Qingsang glanced at him. She knew that Hu Jinyao would definitely be a good father. The two of them talked for a while. Su Qingsang yawned as if she wanted to sleep again. Hu Jinyao knew that she was still very weak, so he let go of her and helped her lie down carefully. You should rest first. If there's anything else, we'll talk about it when you wake up. Su Qingsang nodded and lay down again. Just as she was about to fall asleep, she suddenly thought of something. By the way, is Uncle really okay? Hu Jinyao didn't answer her question. He shook his head and said, He's fine. You really care about him. This time, Su Qingsang heard the jealousy in his words. She couldn't help but laugh and reached out to hold his hand. He saved my life. If it weren't for him, I would have died. You. Hu Jinyao wanted to ask her if she remembered. But Su Qingsang was indeed sleepy again. She had a head injury and was still on an intravenous drip. All these things made her feel sleepy easily. Uncle is really a good person. Her eyes had already begun to close. Then her voice became even softer. When the earthquake happened, he came to me. He saved me. Jinyao, I want to thank him. She didn't say anything else. She had already fallen asleep. Hu Jinyao stared at her face, not sure how much she could remember. He waited until Su Qingsang was completely asleep. He tucked her in and turned to go to a tent not far away. When he entered the tent, Hu Yangxiu was guarding Zhang Yichen. Seeing Hu Jinyao come, she stood up. Jinyao, is Qingsang okay? She's awake. She's fine now. Su Qingsang was hit in the head by a stone and had a slight concussion. In addition, being buried in the ruins caused a certain degree of lack of oxygen. It was indeed a little dangerous before. But the doctor said that as long as she woke up, she would be fine. Now that she was awake, she should be fine. It's good that she's fine. It's good that she's fine. Hui Yangxiu was relieved. When she turned to look at Zhang Yichen, who was lying on the bed, her expression turned into worry. I just don't know when Yichen will wake up. Uncle will be fine. Hu Jinyao glanced at Zhang Yichen. His face was very pale. He was lying there motionless. When Zhang Yichen was rescued, Hui Yangxiu wasn't there, so she could face him so calmly now. If Hui Yangxiu had seen that at that time, Hu Jinyao really couldn't guarantee that Hui Yangxiu would still be able to talk to him calmly like she was now. Zhang Yichen could have been fine. Why didn't he wake up now? One reason was that his internal organs were injured, and the other was that he had lost too much blood. Hu Jinyao couldn't forget the scene when the ruins were dug open and he saw Zhang Yichen and Su Qingsang. After Su Qingsang passed out, she had a fever and was dehydrated. Zhang Yichen had no choice but to cut his wrist and let Su Qingsang drink his blood. Su Qingsang was unconscious, so she didn't know about this. Then there was an aftershock. In order not to let her be hit, Zhang Yichen had been protecting her from above, but he didn't expect the wall to collapse because of the aftershock. Although there was a door to block it, the small door could no longer block the two of them. In order not to let Su Qingsang be hit, Zhang Yichen held the door and blocked most of the pressure. His back was hit, and because he had fed Su Qingsang his blood, she survived. When he was rescued, he was already unconscious because of excessive blood loss and the injury on his back. Even so, he still pressed his back against the door tightly, and his uninjured hand was still on the chair behind Su Qingsang. He formed a space in front of him and used this space to protect Su Qingsang. Hu Jinyao couldn't describe how shocked he was at that time. He knew that Zhang Yichen liked Su Qingsang, but he didn't expect Zhang Yichen to do this for Su Qingsang. He couldn't even be jealous of that scene. He only felt lucky and grateful. If it weren't for Zhang Yichen, Su Qingsang might have died. Hu Jinyao blamed himself. He blamed himself for not being by Su Qingsang's side, for not protecting her, and for not being by her side immediately. Instead, it was another man who was with her. He was indeed a little jealous and envious. But more than that, he felt lucky and grateful. If it weren't for Zhang Yichen, he would have lost Su Qingsang. He couldn't imagine what that scene would be like. Grand, I'll take care of Uncle for a while. You go and rest first. No need. Hui Yangxiu waved her hand. He won't wake up so soon anyway. Besides, Su Qingsang needs you. She's asleep now. Zhang Yichen was rescued. The rescuers only told Hui Yangxiu that Zhang Yichen was buried to save someone, but they didn't say who he was saving. For Hui Yangxiu, it was normal for her son to do such a thing. He was a soldier, and he had the responsibility and obligation to walk in front of others. She just hoped that her son would wake up soon. There's really no need. I've already called Yichen's father. When the next batch of supplies arrives, we'll move him away from here first. By the way, you can move with Su Qingsang too. There are still aftershocks here. It's not safe. Okay. Hu Jinyao didn't object. He looked at Zhang Yichen, who was lying unconscious on the bed. He only hoped that he could wake up soon. Zhang Yichen didn't wake up even when the helicopter carrying supplies arrived the next day. Hui Yangxiu was really worried about him. Therefore, she first transferred Zhang Yichen to City N, which was closest to City C. City N was also affected by the earthquake, but it wasn't as serious as City C. It was just a reaction. Su Qingsang also moved with him. After a night's rest, her body had mostly recovered. She wanted to help, but how could Hu Jinyao agree? She was injured, and her body hadn't recovered yet. She still needed someone to take care of her, so how could she save others? No matter what Su Qingsang said, Hu Jinyao didn't agree to let her stay. Not only that, but he also brought her onto the helicopter and followed her to City N. When they arrived in City N, he first arranged for Su Qingsang to have a full-body examination, especially a brain examination. After confirming that Su Qingsang was fine, he also asked her to be observed for a day. Su Qingsang was helpless, even though she felt that her body was fine. However, Hu Jinyao was too nervous, so she had to stay in the hospital. City North was very close to City C, but it wasn't the closest, so there weren't many injured people here. There were more people in the hospital than usual, but because of Hui Yangxiu, they were now in the military hospital, so it couldn't be as crowded as in other hospitals. Su Qingsang was much more energetic today. However, Hu Jinyao insisted that she stay in bed to rest. She felt that she had slept too much, but Hu Jinyao didn't think so. He always felt that only in bed could be considered rest. This made Su Qingsang feel very helpless. After lunch, Su Qingsang was going to take a nap. However, after she closed her eyes, she couldn't fall asleep. Just as she was about to ask Hu Jinyao if he wanted to rest for a while, she heard the sound of him going outside. Zhang Yichen woke up. Hu Jinyao heard the news when he delivered Su Qingsang's food. His ward was next to Su Qingsang's, which was also arranged by Hu Yangxiu. When Hu Jinyao went over, Zhang Yichen had just finished a bowl of porridge. His hand was still wrapped in gauze. His face was a little pale, but much better than yesterday. Hu Yangxiu greeted him when she saw him. "Uncle." Hu Jinyao looked at Zhang Yichen with a complicated expression. When Zhang Yichen saw him, his lips moved, but when he saw Hu Yangxiu next to him, he didn't say what he wanted to ask. "I want to eat grapes. Go and buy some." Hu Yangxiu hurried over because of Zhang Yichen's accident. Her eldest son and daughter both had tasks, so they couldn't come over immediately. As for Zhang Xinghua, he could only come at night. So, he was the only one here to take care of Zhang Yichen. Hearing that her son wanted to eat grapes, she immediately picked up her bag and walked out. "Then, Grant, you can go. I'll stay here and keep Uncle company. Sorry to trouble you." Su Qingsang was in the ward next door. She was fine. Hu Yangxiu knew that, so she wasn't too worried. She thanked Hu Jinyao and left. After she left, the ward fell silent. Zhang Yichen looked at Hu Jinyao, wanting to ask how Su Qingsang was. "I know what you want to ask. She's fine." Zhang Yichen's clenched fists loosened a little. Hu Jinyao saw that, but he couldn't tell how he felt. "You should have known that she would be fine when you saved her." Seeing that Zhang Yichen didn't say anything, Hu Jinyao added, "Thank you, Uncle." Zhang Yichen glanced at him. He looked very calm. But only he knew how many undercurrents were hidden under that calmness. "You're welcome. I know. It's too easy to thank you now." Hu Jinyao's voice was a little low. He looked at the gauze on Zhang Yichen's arm. The white gauze looked a little harsh against his wheat-colored skin. "But I still want to thank you. Because I'm her husband, and you saved my wife. I thank you." Chapter 597. I didn't do it for you. After saying that, Zhang Yichen was afraid that Hu Jinyao would misunderstand, so he added, "I'm a soldier of the people. Have you forgotten? No matter who it was, I would have saved her in that situation." His voice was a little hoarse. He had slept for a few days, so he was not as energetic as before. But when he said that, his voice was still powerful and convincing. Hu Jinyao stared at his face, as if he wanted to see through him. No matter how hard he stared at Zhang Yichen, his expression didn't change. "You would have saved her no matter who it was. But you couldn't have cut your own flesh and fed your blood to anyone, could you?" Hu Jinyao's words made Zhang Yichen look at him. He frowned, as if he was about to say something. Hu Jinyao smiled helplessly. "You don't have to deny it in front of me. I won't misunderstand anything. I won't doubt my wife because of that. I just want to thank you, from the bottom of my heart." "Thank you, too. If it weren't for you, Qingsang might have. No matter what, you saved her. I don't care if you did it because of your duty as a soldier or because of your love for Qingsang. Either way, I'll thank you anyway." Hu Jinyao looked at him seriously and said word by word, "Uncle, I owe you my life." Zhang Yichen was silent. He suddenly turned his face away and looked at the sky outside the window. The sky was gloomy, as if it was going to rain. "You don't owe me anything, and neither does she. I did it willingly. It's what I should do." He couldn't think too much about the situation at that time. The only thought in his mind was that he couldn't let Qingsang die. And what he said was true. Even if that person hadn't been Qingsang, he wouldn't have stood by and done nothing. "You said that you don't owe me anything, but I can't pretend that I don't." Hu Jinyao looked very serious. He nodded to Zhang Yichen. Thank you, too. He looked at Zhang Yichen with gratitude in his eyes, which were as deep as the sea of stars. Zhang Yichen turned his eyes back to Hua Jinyao, his brows knitted tightly together. Do you think I'm the kind of person who would extort favors from others? Hua Jinyao shook his head. I didn't mean that. But I will never let go of Su Qingsang, no matter what the reason is. No matter who she would meet again. She will always be my wife. Zhang Yichen's expression didn't change. I told you, I'm a soldier. I'm just doing what a soldier should do. When Hua Jinyao returned to the ward, Su Qingsang was still asleep. He sat beside her and stared at her sleeping face. He held her hand and held it against his cheek. Su Qingsang woke up because of his movement. She blinked her eyes and met his gaze. She looked at Hua Jinyao for a while, then realized that he hadn't let go of her hand. Why are you looking at me like that? Was there something on her face? Hua Jinyao kissed the back of her hand and shook his head gently. Nope. I just want to look at you. I'm afraid you'll disappear. She really scared him this time. Hua Jinyao held her hand tightly. He still couldn't forget the fear of losing her. Silly. Su Qingsang reached out and squeezed his hand helplessly. How did our young master Hua become so silly? Quite silly. Hua Jinyao held her hand. There's nothing wrong with your body anymore. When you're well rested tomorrow, we'll go back to Rong City. Okay? Okay. Su Qingsang didn't object. No, Director's son and the others, they're staying to be volunteers now. I believe they won't go back to Rong City for the time being. I want to be a volunteer too. At a time like this, the disaster area needed a large number of doctors. As a doctor, she really wanted to do her part. Hua Jinyao held her hand tightly. You're not allowed to be a volunteer. You can say that I'm selfish or careful. But you haven't fully recovered yet. I don't trust you to be a volunteer. But, no buts. Hua Jinyao was very persistent. Qingsang, I understand your feelings, and I know your determination to do good. But this isn't the mudslide last time. This is an earthquake. There can be aftershocks inside at any time. I can't bear the slightest possibility of losing you. Even if it was only a little bit, it wouldn't do. Su Qingsang felt his hot hand and understood his concerns. But Director's son and the others are all helping now. It's really not good for me to go back to Rong City alone. More importantly, I also want to do my part for the disaster area. Jinyao, just promise me, okay? I promise, I'll ensure my own safety, and I'll be very careful. I won't let myself be in danger. Can I? No. Jinyao. Unless you promise me one thing. What? I'll go too. Hua Jinyao. Was he crazy? Su Qingsang didn't know what to say. You're the president of Tianyu Group. How can you? If you can, I can too, Hua Jinyao said very seriously. You're also the wife of the president of Tianyu Group. Su Qingsang couldn't help but laugh. She leaned over and kissed Hua Jinyao on the cheek. Jinyao, you're so nice. Hua Jinyao gave her a deep look and thought of Zhang Yichen next door. Actually, I'm afraid that you won't think I'm good enough. How can that be? In my heart you're the best. Qingsang. If there's a man who treats you better than I do. Will you? Hua Jinyao suddenly stopped talking. He denied what he had just said. He was jealous. Crazy jealous. He was jealous of Zhang Yichen. He was jealous that the person who was by Su Qingsang's side at that time wasn't him. What are you trying to say? Su Qingsang looked at him in confusion. Hua Jinyao hugged her and pressed his chin against her neck. I want to say that if there's a man who treats you better than I do, will you be with him? Su Qingsang blinked and looked at him. Finally, she raised her hand and put it on Hua Jinyao's forehead. You don't have a fever. Why are you talking nonsense? Hua Jinyao pulled her hand down and held it tightly. He looked at her, but he didn't look like he was joking. I'm serious. If that man is good, if that man loves me very much, if he can give up his life for you. Hua Jinyao. Su Qingsang interrupted him. We're married. Have you forgotten? Hua Jinyao's slightly stunned face made Su Qingsang laugh. She held his hand and said, "We're married. A year ago. Speaking of which, it was our wedding anniversary 2 days ago. You see, we're married." "I know, but..." "No buts. I won't commit bigamy, and I won't be with another man." Seeing that Hu Jinyao seemed to want to say something, she raised her hand and put it on his lips. "No matter how good and outstanding that person is, no matter how good he is to me. Hu Jinyao, my husband is you." Hu Jinyao looked at her and suddenly smiled. He reached out and wrapped his arms around her waist. He leaned over and gently kissed her on the lips. "Your husband is me." Hu Jinyao's voice was low, and there were hidden emotions in it. Su Qingsang's reaction was to hug him and press her face against his chest. Su Qingsang rested for another day. After confirming that there were no major problems with her body, under Hu Jinyao's arrangements, they would return to Sea City with the next batch of supplies this afternoon. They were just temporarily staying in N City. There was nothing to pack. Hu Jinyao, on the other hand, had something to do. He arranged for Yang Wenchang to send disaster relief supplies over. This time, Tianyu Group's performance in this regard was very eye-catching. The higher-ups thought that Hu Jinyao wanted to make the group famous. Only Hu Jinyao knew that he really wanted to do something for these people. The supplies had been prepared and would fly to Sea City with the helicopter in the afternoon. Hu Jinyao and Yang Wenchang went to deal with this matter. Su Qingsang packed up and prepared to leave. When she came out of the ward, she happened to see that the door of the ward next door was open. She froze for a moment, and her red lips pursed into a straight line. Finally, she turned around and walked to the ward next door. Zhang Yichen's back was injured. His body was strong. He had suffered such a serious internal injury and lost so much blood, but he had survived. However, his injury was a little serious, and he didn't look good. He was reaching out to reach the cup on the bedside table. It was a little far away, and he leaned forward a little. Before he could touch the cup, a hand picked it up and put it in his hand. When he turned around and saw Su Qingsang, he was stunned. Of course, he knew that Su Qingsang was in the ward next door. But he had never thought of looking at her. Well, it wasn't that he hadn't thought about it, but that he couldn't think about it. So he pretended that he didn't know, and that the patient next door was another patient. He didn't expect to see Su Qingsang. Zhang Yichen said one word and held the cup tightly. "Are you okay?" Su Qingsang nodded, looked at Zhang Yichen, and said very softly, "Uncle, thank you." "You're welcome." Zhang Yichen held the cup and took a sip. His voice and expression were very cold. "Thank you, Uncle." Su Qingsang's voice was very sincere. "Thank you for saving my life." Zhang Yichen lowered his head and drank all the water in the cup. Then, he looked away as he put down the cup. "I said you're welcome. I'm a soldier. That's what I should do." He had said this twice in 2 days. But each time, he felt different. Su Qingsang wanted to say more, but she felt that the word, "thank you," was indeed too light. "Uncle, are you badly injured? How are you feeling? Do you feel better?" "I'm fine. I'm very healthy. My mother was too nervous." Zhang Yichen still didn't look at Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang could see that he didn't look very well. She was a doctor, so she naturally knew that Zhang Yichen wasn't telling the truth. "That's good." Su Qingsang thought for a moment. "Uncle, let me know the next time you come to Rong City. Jin Yao and I will treat you to dinner. Thank you for saving my life." "No need. Even if you weren't in trouble today, I would still do the same. Moreover, you are Jin Yao's wife. I am Jin Yao's uncle. Of course, I won't let anything happen to you." Su Qingsang couldn't find anything to say. Hui Yangxiu came at that moment. She was stunned when she saw Su Qingsang. "Great aunt." "Yes, you're here to see Yichen?" "I'm here." "Thank you, uncle." Before she could finish the last 5 words, Zhang Yichen interrupted her. "Mom, didn't my father say he was coming? Where is he?" "He went to command the disaster relief." Hui Yangxiu knew her husband. "He went after knowing that you were fine. They say that there must be a big family before there can be a small family. It's not like you don't know what kind of person your father is." "Great aunt, uncle, you guys talk. I'll leave first." Su Qingsang could tell that Zhang Yichen didn't want her to stay here. She said goodbye to Hui Yangxiu and turned to leave. Hui Yangxiu wanted her to stay for a while. After all, they were relatives and she liked Hui Jinyao very much. However, Zhang Yichen asked her to pour water at that moment. After Hui Yangxiu poured the water, Su Qingsang had already left. "Child, you're Jinyao's wife no matter what. Why are you so cold to her?" Zhang Yichen took the water from her hand and didn't answer Hui Yangxiu's question. However, out of the corner of his eye, he kept looking at the door of the ward. With his sharp ears, he listened to the rhythmic footsteps as they walked away bit by bit. Until he could no longer hear them. He put the cup back on the bedside table and didn't respond to Hui Yangxiu's next words. Su Qingsang followed Hui Jinyao into the helicopter. After that, there were a few more aftershocks that could be clearly felt in Sea City. It was indeed a dangerous place. However, Su Qingsang was very determined. When she returned to Sea City, she went to see Sun Huiya and the others first. The doctors who came to Sea City this time were now using one person as a few people. They weren't divided into any departments. When the injured came, they directly started. 72 hours of the Golden Rescue had passed, but the injured were still being sent over. The hospital's tent was full of people. The disaster this time was very serious. No one expected it to be like this. "Why are you back?" Seeing Su Qingsang, Sun Huiya's voice changed. "Nonsense, aren't you injured? Go home." "Director's son, I'm fine. Just let me do my part." Su Qingsang's attitude was firm. Although Sun Huiya was helpless, now was indeed the time for a doctor. She waved her hand and didn't say anything else. Su Qingsang quickly threw herself into her work. As for Hui Jinyao, he also volunteered. What surprised Su Qingsang wasn't the fact that Hui Jinyao volunteered, but how he did it. He didn't put on a volunteer's uniform and put on an act. Instead, he was really using his own way to help these people. He carried stretchers, helped carry beds, and delivered water to the villagers. She could always see Hui Jinyao's busy figure between breaks. But even if he was very busy, he didn't forget to take good care of her. He brought her food during meals and ran over during breaks to tell her to remember to drink more water. He also paid attention to prevention. Places where people died were prone to epidemics. Su Qingsang knew this even without Hui Jinyao telling her. However, it felt very different to be educated by him. At night, they all stayed in a tent. They couldn't sleep very soundly. If a patient was sent over, they had to get up at any time. Whether it was Su Qingsang or Hui Jinyao, both of them had such experiences, so they didn't feel that it was very difficult. The only thing that made them feel inconvenient was that it was not convenient to take a shower here. When Su Qingsang returned to the tent, she saw that Hui Jinyao's clothes were covered in dust. Not only his clothes, but even his hair was covered in dust. At this moment, Hui Jinyao didn't look as elegant as when he was the CEO of Rong City. Su Qingsang felt a little sorry for him. Hui Jinyao didn't notice her gaze. He took out a bag from behind him. "Are you tired? There's food here. I asked Wenshang to bring it over." Su Qingsang didn't take the bag in his hand and looked at Hui Jinyao. She spoke very seriously. "Hui Jinyao, go back to Rong City." "Qingsang, listen to me." Su Qingsang had seen Hui Jinyao's performance in the past 2 days. He was really serious about being a good volunteer. But she also felt sorry for him. "Look, Tianyu Group has so many things to deal with, but you came to Sea City. You said before that you had a lot of things to do." Hui Jinyao didn't deny that he was indeed very busy. Especially now that Hui Yifan had left the company, there were more things that needed him to make decisions every day. Yang Wenshang brought a notebook for him. He volunteered during the day and dealt with work at night after Su Qingsang fell asleep. He took time to rest for a while. It had only been 2 days, but there were already faint shadows under his eyes. "It's okay. I can handle those things. This is more important now." "I know you can handle it, but..." She went forward and held Hui Jinyao's hand. Her voice was very soft. "I feel sorry for you." She raised her hand and wiped Hui Jinyao's face with her sleeve. She actually knew that Hua Jinyao had a slight obsession with cleanliness. But now, he was busy in such an environment. Hua Jinyao, I feel sorry for you. I want you to go back. Continue to be the omnipotent CEO. Hua Jinyao looked at her and held her hand. Wife, you feel sorry for me. Don't I feel sorry for you? Su Qingsang was clearly a doctor in the obstetrics and gynecology department, but what she had done in the past 2 days had nothing to do with the obstetrics and gynecology department. You're here to help the disaster area, but you're chasing me back. Haven't you ever thought that there will still be aftershocks here from time to time? If I really leave here, will I be worried about you? The situation is basically stable now. Even if there are aftershocks, I believe it won't be too serious. Also, Su Qingsang tried to persuade Hua Jinyao, but Hua Jinyao didn't accept it. Wife, either you go back with me, or I'll stay with you. In short, I won't let you go alone. In such an uncertain environment, you'll experience the fear and worry from before. Su Qingsang was speechless. Her throat was a little blocked. She wanted to say something, but in the end, she could only reach out and hug Hua Jinyao. Hua Jinyao, did I tell you that I love you? Yes. You're saying it now. Then did I tell you that I like you because you're you? Even if there's a better man than you who treats me better than you, I can't like him? She was answering his question from the other day. Hua Jinyao smiled and wrapped his big hand around her waist. Moreover, Su Qingsang raised her head to look at him. Her eyes, which were slightly bloodshot because of exhaustion, were still as bright as stars. In my heart, there will never be a man who is better than you, who treats me better than you. Hua Jinyao laughed. He laughed so hard that his chest was shaking. Su Qingsang's face was pressed against his chest, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly with a faint smile. When Su Peijian entered the room, there was not only the smell of alcohol, but also the smell of cigarettes. The room was still very dark, and the lights were not turned on. The smell of the entire room was unbearable. She turned on the lights and opened the curtains. The dazzling light made Hui Yifan, who was lying on the bed, open his eyes. When he saw that it was Su Peijian, he turned over, pushed the bottle of wine in his hand, and went back to sleep. Looking at him, Su Peijian's heart was filled with hatred. She turned around and went to the bathroom to get a basin of water. She walked to the bed and splashed it on Hui Yifan's face. Hui Yifan had to get up. He stared at Su Peijian as if he was looking at an enemy. Are you crazy? What are you doing? What am I doing? I want to ask you now, what are you doing? What am I doing? Hui Yifan sneered and wiped the water off his face. What else can I do now? Tell me, what else can I do now? I don't know what you can do now. I only know that no matter what you do now, it's better than you being drunk here. Better? How is it better? Hui Yifan got up from the bed. His clothes were wet, so he took them off. He walked up to Su Peijian and reached out to pinch her chin. What else can you use me for? Tell me. Hui Yifan. Su Peijian waved his hand away. Let me tell you, what else can I use you for now? Look at you. Not to mention Hua Jinyao, even I would be able to beat you to the ground. Do you believe me? Of course I do. Why not? Hui Yifan grabbed Su Peijian's arm and pressed her against his body. You don't have to hit me. I'll lie on top of you. Not only will I lie on top of you, but I can also move and make you. Slap. Hui Yifan was slapped in the face. He glared at Su Peijian. Not only was Su Peijian not afraid, but she slapped the other side of Hui Yifan's face. Hui Yifan, are you awake now? Su Peijian. Hui Yifan gritted his teeth and looked a little fierce. Let me tell you, no one has ever dared to hit me. You're the first. Is that so? I'm sorry, I want to tell you too. I've never hit a man before. You're the first too. You, what about me? Su Peijian sneered and glared at him. I only know that Hua Jinyao is not in Rong City now. I also know that he accompanied Su Qingsang to Sea City. I also know that there's an earthquake in Sea City now. And Hua Jinyao hasn't come back yet. And tell me, what do you know? Chapter 598. What do I know? Let me tell you, I know a lot. Hui Yifan put down his hand that was about to hit Su Peijian. I also know that he wants a good reputation. He keeps donating supplies to the disaster area and even stays there as a volunteer. What's wrong? So what? Hu Jinyao knew how to be a good person. What disaster relief? It was all because Su Qingsang was there. So what? Su Peijian was so angry that she almost laughed. Are you trying to tell me now that you know that Hu Jinyao is not in Rong City, but you deliberately let go of such a good opportunity? What opportunity? Hui Yifan looked at Su Peijian with his eyes wide open. Tell me, what other opportunity do I have? He had already been kicked out by old Master Hua. What other opportunity did he have? Hu Jinyao is in Sea City. There was an earthquake in Sea City. Su Peijian stared at Hui Yifan's face. She didn't believe that he wouldn't think of it. It's true that you were kicked out of Tianyu Group, but it's still a short time. Who knows? Who knows? Hui Yifan sneered. Everyone knows. What do you think? Su Peijian rolled her eyes. She took 2 steps forward and grabbed the front of Hui Yifan's shirt. No wonder you can't beat Hu Jinyao. You want to beat Hu Jinyao with your cowardly appearance? You're dreaming. Okay, I'm cowardly, but Hu Jinyao isn't cowardly. If Hu Jinyao isn't cowardly, why are you here? Go find him. But the problem is, Hui Yifan looked at Su Peijian up and down with extreme contempt and sneered. He doesn't like you. Su Peijian was annoyed. She raised her hand and was about to slap Hui Yifan again. This time her slap missed. Hui Yifan grabbed her hand and pulled her into his arms. Don't you just want me to take over Tianyu Group? You want to be the wife of the president of Tianyu Group. You want to suppress Su Qingsang, right? So what? Su Peijian looked at him. Can you give it to me? Of course. But the premise is that Hu Jinyao dies first. Do you dare to do it? Su Peijian smiled. She stared at Hui Yifan and said in a cold voice, Hui Yifan, I won't do something like killing 1,000 enemies at the cost of 800 lives. I'm telling you. I'm a person who can do anything, but I won't do anything illegal. It wasn't like something like this had never happened in Lin City before. I really don't like Su Qingsang and Hu Jinyao, but I don't want to kill them. Hui Yifan, you have to understand that only when you have freedom will you have a chance to get the Tianyu Group. If you have no freedom, even if you get the Tianyu Group, you can only stay in prison. Then what else is there to say? Hui Yifan let go of her and pushed her away. If Hu Jinyao doesn't die, I'll never have a chance. What else can I say? Not necessarily. Su Peijian took a step forward and looked at Hui Yifan. The last time I went to see Grandpa, he didn't pay much attention to me. But I heard one thing. What? Sea City is a good place. Su Peijian looked at Hui Yifan with a calculating look in her eyes. I'm willing to do this myself. But during this time, go to Grandpa for me. I don't care if you cry or beg. Ask Grandpa to let you go back to Tianyu Group first. If that doesn't work, go beg Uncle. Hua Jinyao doesn't have a good relationship with his parents. But Uncle should still have a good impression of you. Go beg Uncle. No matter what method you use, let them get you back to Tianyu Group. Leave the rest to me. Leave it to you? Su Peijian's words made Hui Yifan raise his eyebrows. What are your plans? If you didn't want to get rid of Hu Jinyao, how would you have the ability? If you don't believe in my ability, you can do as I say. Su Peijian pushed her hair back. In short, your opportunity is right in front of you. If you can't enter Tianyu Group, then all my previous efforts will be in vain. Okay, I'll wait and see. Hui Yifan stepped forward and pinched her chin. If you can really make Hu Jinyao forget about the company's matters, I have a way to get Tianyu Group. At that time, I'll definitely marry you into the Hua family and make you the wife of the CEO of Tianyu Group. Okay, I'll wait. As Su Peijian spoke, she waved Hui Yifan's hand away and took out a document from her bag. What's this? A gift for you to ask for forgiveness from old Master Hua. Su Peijian narrowed her eyes. You don't think that old Master Hua will let you go back if you don't do anything, do you? Hui Yifan took out the document and glanced at it. His expression immediately changed. How did you get it? You don't have to care how I got it. In short, with this greeting gift, it's only natural for you to return to Tianyu Group. After you go back, keep a low profile, but this plan must be done beautifully and well. Otherwise, you still won't have a foothold in Tianyu Group. Hui Yifan looked Su Peijian up and down. He couldn't help but lean over and kiss her on the cheek. Woman, I really think that my brother chose your sister first and didn't choose you. He's blind. Of course he's blind. Su Peijian sneered. Her abilities and methods were far superior to Su Qingsang's. Only a man like Hu Jinyao, who had no taste, would treat Su Qingsang like a treasure. He's blind, but I'm not. As Hui Yifan spoke, he picked up Su Peijian and pulled up her clothes. What are you doing? You still have the mood to think about this at a time like this? At a time like this, the more I think about it. Don't worry, with this gift here, Old Master Hua will definitely agree for me to return to Tianyu Group. Su Qingsang and Hu Jinyao held hands and stood on a slope, looking at the lights in front of them. It had been more than 20 days since the earthquake. The two of them had been helping here for a week. Now that the situation in the disaster area had basically stabilized, the injured had been settled. As for those who had already left, they couldn't control it. The higher-ups were very satisfied with the performance of their medical team. Now that the situation had stabilized, the local hospitals adjacent to Sea City had sent people over to help. Now that their mission was considered completed, arrangements had been made for them to leave. The airport of Sea City was damaged in the earthquake. It couldn't be used for the time being. They had to take a helicopter to N City first. Then, they would transfer from N City to Rong City. When the two of them got on the helicopter the next day, they didn't expect that the person who came to pick them up would be Zhang Yichen. Uncle? Uncle. Hu Jinyao looked at Zhang Yichen. A week had passed. Zhang Yichen's injury seemed to have recovered. His face had returned to a healthy wheat-colored color. He looked much more energetic. He was wearing a military green shirt. His sleeves were rolled up. His muscular arms were exposed. Uncle's injury has recovered? Hu Jinyao carefully looked at Zhang Yichen. He looked in good spirits and seemed to have really recovered. Zhang Yichen nodded, but his eyes didn't fall on Su Qingsang. I'm going to N City. Have you been here for a long time? I've been here for 2 days. There were many things to do in the disaster area. As a soldier, he had his own responsibilities. Uncle's injury hasn't recovered yet, right? Why don't you rest for a while? Hu Jinyao's voice was filled with concern. Does Grandaunt agree with you doing this? I'm already fine. Zhang Yichen's slightly cold voice was heard. He signaled them to sit down with his eyes. In addition to Hu Jinyao and Su Qingsang, Su Qingsang's colleagues from the hospital who came over this time were also with them. They knew that Hu Jinyao was very capable, but they didn't expect a soldier to know him. Everyone got on the helicopter. Soon, the helicopter took off. Su Qingsang sat next to Hu Jinyao. She looked out of the helicopter. Before she came, it was an extremely prosperous city with green mountains and clear water. Now that he looked over, all he could see was a mess. She was not in a good mood. Hu Jinyao held her hand. She turned to look at Hu Jinyao and shook her head gently at him, indicating that she was fine. In less than a month, she had experienced life and death and seen through it. Although she couldn't completely accept it, she was much calmer than when she first faced it. Zhang Yichen kept looking forward, as if he didn't see Hu Jinyao and Su Qingsang holding hands. When they arrived at N City, the helicopter landed at the airport. Su Qingsang and Hu Jinyao were the last to get off the helicopter. Hu Jinyao got off first and reached out his hand to Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang took his hand and jumped off the helicopter. When she turned to face Zhang Yichen, Su Qingsang nodded very politely. Thank you, too. Goodbye, uncle. Zhang Yichen responded coldly. Su Qingsang turned to leave. Before she left, she glanced at Zhang Yichen's wrist. There was a scar there that looked very new. She had never seen it before. Hu Jinyao put his hand on her shoulder at the right time. She also thanked Zhang Yichen. Thank you, uncle. When you have time, go to Rong City this week. I'll treat you to dinner. We'll talk about it then. I guess they'll be very busy recently and won't have time to go to Rong City. They all knew that Zhang Yichen's unit was in C City. Before this matter was completely over, he probably wouldn't have time to return to Rong City. Hua Jinyao was just being polite. In fact, he really didn't want to see Zhang Yichen now. Even if he was his own uncle. The two of them didn't return to Rong City with Sun Huiya and the others. Instead, they got on the plane to Lin City. Li Qianxue knew that Su Qingsang had experienced an earthquake. She was so worried that she almost came with them. If Hua Jinyao hadn't contacted her in time and told her that Su Qingsang's condition was stable, Li Qianxue would have flown to the disaster area without a care. When she heard that Su Qingsang didn't return to Rong City after she was fine, but stayed in C City, she was very worried. However, Su Qingsang seemed to be fine. She called her every day to tell her that she was safe. She didn't mention anything about the disaster area. Just because she didn't say anything didn't mean that Li Qianxue didn't know. There were reports on TV, the news, and the internet every day. How many aftershocks had happened? What changes would there be? Under such circumstances, how could Li Qianxue not worry about Su Qingsang staying there? She paid attention to the news every day. After the communication was restored, she asked Su Qingsang to contact her every day. But even so, Li Qianxue was still extremely worried. Seeing that Su Qingsang was standing in front of her unscathed, Li Qianxue hugged her and pretended to hit her on the back twice. "You're really bold. I don't listen to you anymore. I told you to go home, but you didn't. Do you know that you scared me to death?" Knowing that Su Qingsang had encountered an earthquake, she couldn't wait for her to come back immediately. Who knew that not only did Su Qingsang not come back, she even dragged Hua Jinyao along to mess around. "Mom, I'm fine now, aren't I?" Su Qingsang's eyes were a little red. She was really grateful that she had escaped death here. "You're still talking about it. You've already lost so much weight." Li Qianxue glared at Hua Jinyao as she spoke. She wanted to criticize him for not taking good care of Su Qingsang. However, she realized that his face was even uglier than Su Qingsang's, and he seemed to have lost even more weight than Su Qingsang. Knowing that he had accompanied Su Qingsang all the way, she couldn't help but complain. "You're so old, yet you still let her mess around. If she wanted to stay, wouldn't you have brought her home? It's my fault. I didn't persuade her." Hua Jinyao admitted his mistake with a good attitude. Li Qianxue couldn't flare up even if she wanted to. Her son-in-law had stayed in the disaster area with her daughter as a volunteer, so how could she be angry? She couldn't help but pat Su Qingsang's shoulder again. "This time, no matter what you say, you have to stay for a few more days before you leave. Do you know that your grandfather is also very worried about you? Knowing that you're in the disaster area, he even went to Qingyuan Temple today and said that he wanted to pray for you. He's so old, so I asked Yusin to accompany him." No wonder she said that she didn't see old Master Li. Hearing that he was going to pray for her, even if Su Qingsang didn't actually believe in these things, she was still extremely touched. "Okay, I'll definitely stay for a few more days." Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao stayed at the Li residence. In the afternoon, old Master Li and Su Yusin returned. Both of them were very happy to see Su Qingsang. They pulled Su Qingsang as if they had endless things to say and endless questions to ask. Su Yusin's scores were out. He was the top science student in Lin City. He had also made up his mind to go to university in the capital. Since he had made up his mind, Su Qingsang was quite happy for him. She suddenly thought of Bai Jihan. No matter what, she and Su Yusin were in a relationship. She wondered how her grades were and which school she would go to. She wanted to ask, but it wasn't the right time. She could only ask later. It was night. It suddenly rained in Lin City. It was accompanied by bursts of thunder. Su Qingsang had been very tired during this period of time, but she couldn't fall asleep because of such thunder. She tossed and turned on the bed. Hua Jinyao was about to fall asleep, but he was so shocked by her movements that he couldn't sleep anymore. "What's wrong?" "It's nothing. I just can't sleep." "You think the thunder is too noisy?" Half-half. The other half was thinking about Su Yusin. He had decided to go to university in the capital, which was far away from home. Although he could come back during the winter and summer vacations, it was not as convenient as staying in Lin City. Grandpa was old. Li Qinxue was busy with company affairs every day. Su Qingsang couldn't bear it, but she knew that this was something that could not be helped. There was also Bai Jihan. She had asked Su Yusen just now, and he said that Bai Jihan had failed in the college entrance examination. Her grades weren't particularly good. If she wanted to go to university in the capital with Su Yusen, she was afraid that she couldn't. She could see that Su Yusen had true feelings for Bai Jihan. It was just that if they were separated for 4 years in university, there would be too many variables. Bai Jihan was very insecure, but Su Yusen was determined. He had always been a person who knew what he wanted, but he wouldn't compromise for Bai Jihan. Su Qingsang couldn't help but look at Hua Jinyao. "What are you doing? Are you tired?" Hua Jinyao gently bit her lips again. "Aren't you tired? You think about all kinds of things every day. Don't you have time to rest? Are you tired? Why are you thinking about all kinds of things? They are my family." "Of course He sealed her mouth with a kiss. She couldn't say anything else. Su Qingsang was a little annoyed. She was seriously worried, but he didn't care at all. She reached out to hit him. Hua Jinyao bit her lips and said softly, "You're not tired anyway, so why don't you do something else?" As Hua Jinyao spoke, his big hand began to reach into her clothes. Su Qingsang was so angry that she laughed. "Who's not tired? How can I fall asleep with such loud thunder?" "Well, actually, I'm still not tired enough. When I'm tired and faint, I naturally fall asleep." Hua Jinyao's voice was vague. Su Qingsang couldn't push him away. She could only let him do whatever he wanted. When the two of them were naked, Hua Jinyao suddenly stopped. His hand subconsciously reached in the direction of the bedside table, but he remembered that this was the Li family, not Rong City. He gritted his teeth, turned over, and was about to get off Su Qingsang's body. Su Qingsang hugged him at this moment. She met his eyes. Her eyes were clear. "Didn't you say that it was a child?" Hua Jinyao's expression was a little conflicted. He wasn't ready yet. How could Su Qingsang give him time to prepare? She directly turned over and took the initiative. Hua Jinyao had never had any self-control in front of her. Looking at her, he said with slightly gritted teeth, "You've become bold. Not as bold as you." Su Qingsang bit his ear. "You've become fat from breaking your promise." She was accusing him of not keeping his word. Hua Jinyao looked at her slightly blurry eyes, gritted his teeth, and turned from passive to active again. Forget it. If she wanted a child, it would be up to fate. Before they became one, Hua Jinyao stopped. Looking at her passionate eyes, his voice was firm. "Just this once. If you have one, give birth to it. If not, go back and do what you should do, okay?" If Su Qingsang wasn't in a bad state, she would have beaten him up. What did he mean? She didn't agree, but Hua Jinyao had already made up his mind. He lowered his waist and gave himself to her. Su Qingsang gritted her teeth. She was a little shy, but in the end she raised her waist. She was a gynecologist, so she naturally knew what kind of situation it was easier to have children. Hua Jinyao knew what she was thinking and couldn't help but laugh. He really didn't know that Su Qingsang was so obsessed with children. "Honey, with you like this, should I work harder today?" Su Qingsang couldn't help but want to bite him again. She didn't bite him, so she scratched his back. "Don't worry, honey. Your husband will definitely work hard." Su Qingsang couldn't bear it anymore. She raised her head and bit him on the shoulder. This guy was really showing off after getting a bargain. It was really annoying. "Qingsang, you're really bad." Su Qingsang stayed with old Master Li and Li Qianxue for 2 days. Today, she finally had time to ask Li Qianxue to agree to let her go out. As soon as she left the house, she went to look for Shi Mengwan. Shi Mengwan had returned from the competition in France a long time ago, but she was very busy. This time, she didn't win the championship, but she got the most unique design award. The significance of this award was extraordinary, and it also made Shi Mengwan famous overseas as a rising star of design. More and more people came to him. Su Qingsang saw Shi Mengwan again and found that she didn't look well either. You have dark circles under your eyes. Are you worried about me? Or are you busy with work? You're heartless. Shi Mengwan pinched her arm. I'm worried about you, of course. She was really worried about Su Qingsang. If she hadn't found out that Hua Jinyao had accompanied her to the disaster area, she would have gone too. Su Qingsang was touched and hugged her waist tightly. All right, I'm fine now. She stepped back a little and looked at Shi Mengwan's expression. You, don't think I don't know that you stayed up all night drawing again. I know you want to make money, but no matter how much you want to make money, you have to take care of your health. Shi Mengwan didn't say anything. It was true that she wanted to make money. She wanted to prove that she was also true. Zhang Haoze and Chen Feifei were still engaged. She was powerless to stop it, and she couldn't do anything. Zhang Haoze had come to look for her twice during this period of time, but she avoided him. When he came to the studio, she asked someone to say that she wasn't there. When he came to her house, she hid from him and didn't open the door. Sometimes, Shi Mengwan didn't understand. He was already engaged, so why did he still look for her? Was he trying to turn her into a mistress? Or was Zhang Haoze that confident? He was confident that her feelings for him would never escape his control, so he was fearless? No matter which one it was, Shi Mengwan felt tired. Even though she knew that Zhang Haoze was the big brother she had been thinking about for more than 10 years. But such a relationship with a third party, was too tiring for her. Ning, what's wrong? Are you really tired? Yes, very tired. Shi Mengwan twitched the corner of her mouth. It's not a big award, but the internet is so developed now. When it was spread back to China, many people bragged about the award. I can't even take online orders during this period of time. Su Qingsang looked at her with heartache. How about you take a break for a while? Or stop taking orders for a while? Or hire some more people? Anyway, your studio is already big enough now, and you can hire a lot of people. I want to, but there aren't many good designers who are close to my style and agree with my ideas. Su Qingsang knew Shi Mengwan very well. She didn't continue talking about this matter. Shi Mengwan didn't think about Zhang Haoze anymore. Her heart ached when she thought about that person, but she felt empty and uncomfortable when she didn't think about him. She only wanted to suppress that emotion at the bottom of her heart and get rid of those thoughts. She turned to ask about Su Qingsang's situation in the disaster area. The two sisters went shopping, chatted, and drank tea together, just like when Su Qingsang was still in Lin City. At the same time, a plane slowly landed in Lin City. Su Peijian wore a pair of Dior sunglasses on the bridge of her nose. She was wearing Chanel's new summer dress. She slowly walked out of the airport, the corners of her lips curling up into a faint smile. Chapter 599. Before Su Peijian came to Lin City, she made a trip to N City. It wasn't that she didn't want to go to C City to cause trouble for Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao. It was just that her ability was still a little lacking. C City was still a disaster area, and they were slowly carrying out post-disaster rescue and reconstruction work. Anyone who wanted to enter the disaster area had to be vetted. The airport was also closed. Su Peijian wouldn't even think about volunteering. She wasn't cut out for that. She didn't want to do what she thought was hypocritical. She spent a lot of effort and pulled a lot of strings. She used all the connections that she could use when she was in Lin City. Speaking of which, she had to thank Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue. They despised her and hated that she was in Rong City. However, in Lin City, neither Su Qinghui nor Li Qianxue deliberately talked about Su Peijian's family background. Many people who didn't know what was going on thought that she was still the daughter of the Su family. This was also the reason why she was able to obtain resources and the gift she had previously given to Hua Yifeng. Not only in Lin City, but she also had people she could use in Rong City. It was true that Hua Yifeng had been kicked out by the Hua family, but neither Hua Yang nor Hua Manzi had. Old Master Hua was strict with boys, but he was especially tolerant with girls. There were some things that she could find out with just a little inquiry. For example, Zhang Yichen was currently doing disaster relief in C City. Zhang Yichen's troops were also in Sea City. Su Peijian really wanted to know the truth about Zhang Yichen and Su Qingsang. But after asking around, it really didn't work. She could only think of another way. Before she could think of anything, she received the news. Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao went back to Rong City. The heavens were really on her side. Su Qingsang was very busy after returning to Lin City. Other than Li Qianxue and Shi Mengwan, who wished that she could accompany them every day, she also took the time to go back to the hospital. Previously, Director Zhang had taken such good care of her that she bought afternoon tea and specially took half a day off to visit Director Zhang and the others. Director Zhang was very happy to see Su Qingsang. He looked at the time and told Su Qingsang not to leave in a hurry. Let's have dinner together tonight. Su Qingsang had the same idea. She was going to invite them to dinner. When the group was about to leave, they met Zhuo Hongchen again. Zhuo Hongchen had been very busy for the past 6 months. He had been promoted to chief and had a lot of things to do. Most importantly, he had a girlfriend. He had a lot of things. A new doctor from the same department. The only regret was that Zhuo Hongchen's girlfriend had gone to study recently. He was not in Lin City and would only be back in a week. Su Qingsang asked him to join them. Therefore, Su Qingsang brought a group of people to Chaowen Courtyard. At the same time, Su Peijian looked at Qiu Yanba, who was sitting across the desk. Du Qingsang, Su. Qiu Yanba, it was your Qiu family who wanted to get engaged. Later, it was you, Qiu Yanba, who wanted to break off the engagement. Do you think you can get engaged whenever you want and break off the engagement whenever you want? Su Hua Hut. Yun, Su, Chen. Su Peijian smiled. Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao are in Lin City now. Su, how Su Qi? How? Su Kissity. How? Su Peijian told him her plan. Qiu Yanba stared at her, his eyes wide with shock. You're crazy. Qiu Yanba admitted that he was interested in Su Qingsang. But it wasn't enough for him to go against Hao Jinyao. He had been warned by Hao Jinyao and he was working with Tianyu Group. Recently, the company's business had been quite good. He didn't want to go against Hao Jinyao and get himself into trouble. Let's just say I'm crazy. You're the one who drove me crazy. Su Peijian leaned forward and stared at Qiu Yanba, her eyes filled with endless coldness. Qiu Yanba, you want to stay out of this? Why can't I stay out of it? Because I have something on you. Su Peijian smiled. She stood up, put her hands on the desk, and looked down at Qiu Yanba's face. You don't think that I didn't know anything when I was your fiancé, do you? Qiu Yanba's expression changed. Su Peijian, what do you mean? Su Peijian smiled. She opened her bright red lips and said a few words. Qiu Yanba's face turned livid. I've always thought you were a smart person. So, a smart person like you should know how to do smart things, right? Qiu Yanba stared at Su Peijian and nodded. Good, very good. Tell me, how do you want me to help you? Let's go. Follow me to find the person first. Tell me slowly. What do you think? Qiu Yanba stared at Su Peijian's face and sneered. Su Peijian, why didn't I know you were a vicious beauty before? I didn't know you were a scumbag either. Su Peijian emphasized the word, scumbag. Qiu Yanba was so angry that he laughed and glanced at her coldly. Let's go. Su Peijian smiled with obvious pride on her face. Su Qingsang hadn't met with her colleagues for a long time. It was rare for her to have a gathering like this. Because Zhuo Hongchen was the director's son, everyone let him sit at the head of the table, next to Su Qingsang. He had a girlfriend recently. Although he had feelings for Su Qingsang, he still hoped that she could live a good life. When Su Qingsang was talking, he turned his face to listen to her. She talked about the incident at Rong City Hospital and the disaster area this time. Her eyes were curved, and there was a smile at the corner of her eyes. Her complexion was also very good, especially the feeling that her whole body exuded. It could be seen that she was living a good life. This was very good. He knew that she was living a good life. He was also relieved. although it had nothing to do with him. Who asked him to confess too late and reveal his feelings too late? This table of people was bustling with noise and excitement. On the other side, Su Peijian and Qiu Yanba, who knew where Su Qingsang was, also came to the private room next door. Qiu Yanba looked at Su Peijian with a mocking expression on his face. Su Peijian, if Hu Jinyao finds out about your current plans, do you know what will happen to you? What will happen? Su Peijian sneered. Will it be worse than now? If it weren't for Su Qingsang, if it weren't for Hu Jinyao, how could she have ended up like this? She lost everything. Why could Su Qingsang have everything? She couldn't accept it. She called the waiter over and ordered 2 bottles of wine with great interest. Do you want to have a drink together? Su Peijian poured 2 glasses of wine and placed one in front of Qiu Yanba. Qiu Yanba turned his face away from Su Peijian. I don't want to drink with you now. It's okay, I'll drink it myself. Su Peijian not only drank it herself, but also called the waiter over to bring one of the bottles to the next room. If any one of them asks, say it's from Mr. Hua. The waiter took the bottle of wine to the next room. Next door, Su Qingsang and her colleagues from the hospital were indeed drinking. When someone brought the bottle of aged dry red wine over, Director Zhang was stunned for a moment. No one was blind and could see the value of the wine. It's from a Mr. Hua. The waiter's words made everyone turn to look at Su Qingsang, and there was a hint of ridicule in their eyes. Su Qingsang was a little embarrassed. She had called Hu Jinyao about coming out to the party, but she didn't expect him to arrange this. Was he asking her to drink without any worries? Qingsang, thank you in advance. Director Zhang smiled and didn't stand on ceremony. Su Qingsang felt a little warm and a little sweet in her heart. Other than having a disagreement with Hu Jinyao on the matter of the child, Hu Jinyao was perfect in every aspect. Just like that, a bottle of wine fell into the stomachs of the people present. Everyone was very grateful that Su Qingsang still remembered them after leaving for so long, so one by one, they came over to toast her. Su Qingsang was inevitably a little drunk after being toasted by them one after another. The banquet hadn't ended yet, but the atmosphere was already lively again. The alcohol got to their heads, and everyone was in high spirits. They said that they were going to KTV to sing. Su Qingsang didn't object. It was a rare opportunity, and it was good to have more fun. However, she drank too much and couldn't help but go to the bathroom. When Su Qingsang washed her hands, she began to feel a little dizzy. She shook her head, trying to sober herself up. However, her nose was suddenly covered, and she instinctively struggled. However, she didn't have much strength in her drunkenness, and her body just went limp. Su Peijian and Qiu Yanba helped Su Qingsang out the back door. Of course, Su Peijian was very careful. The boss of Chaoan Courtyard used to be friends with Su Qinghui. It took her less than 10 minutes to take Su Qingsang away from Chaoan Courtyard. During these 10 minutes, the surveillance cameras of Chaoan Courtyard were broken. In the end, all they could capture was Su Qingsang entering the bathroom. Of course, she didn't forget to use Su Peijian's phone to call the people from the hospital. She said that she was drunk and her husband was coming to pick her up. So, they went to play. No one would make things difficult for Su Qingsang. Everyone knew that she had drunk too much just now. As for her voice, it was normal for a drunkard to speak in a drunken manner. Everything went smoothly. 10 minutes later, Su Qingsang had already been brought by Qiu Yanba and Su Peijian to the hotel next door. That hotel was Qiu Yanba's property. In the presidential suite on the top floor, Su Qingsang slept on it unconsciously. Su Peijian looked at Su Qingsang with a look of disdain on her face. She wasn't as good-looking as her, and she wasn't as capable as her. No matter how one looked at it, she was inferior to her in every aspect. She just had to be so lucky to meet Hu Jinyao, that blind man who treated such a useless woman like a treasure. Seriously, Qiu Yanba stood by the bed and looked at Su Peijian. Okay, I've helped you get her out. Can I go now? Go. Su Peijian turned to look at him. Don't you like her? How can you just leave like this? Su Peijian. Qiu Yanba's voice was extremely cold. I'm not as shameless as you think. Really? Su Peijian smiled. She leaned forward a little and stared at Chiu Yanba's face. You mean you don't want to? Of course. He didn't want to go too far, and he didn't want to shed all pretense of cordiality with Hu Jinyao. You don't want to? Su Peijian nodded. Then I'll have to find someone who does. Su Peijian, I think you're really crazy. You said that just now. Let's change it to something new. Su Peijian pulled Chiu Yanba's body over, her face full of coldness. Why do you have to pretend to be so dignified and righteous? If it were in the past, you wouldn't have liked someone like Su Qingseng. Don't you like her? I'll give you a chance to be with her. Isn't it just fulfilling your wish? It's fulfilling your wish, isn't it? Chiu Yanba waved her hand away. Have you ever thought about what would happen if I really did this? What would Hu Jinyao do to me? Su Peijian, you've already left the Su family. You don't care, but I do. I won't risk my family. Don't worry. By the time Hu Jinyao comes, you should have already left. Su Peijian let go of his hand, her expression full of contempt. This is your hotel. You can make sure that the surveillance cameras don't capture anything. Isn't that right? Chiu Yanba stood still. If that's the case, why would Hu Jinyao believe in your trap? Because I have this. As Su Peijian spoke, she took out her phone and waved it in front of Chiu Yanba. I'll take a picture of you and send it to Hu Jinyao. Don't worry, I'll censor your face. I won't really let him see your face. You're well prepared. Chiu Yanba's voice became even colder. Should I thank you? Shouldn't you? Get out. Chiu Yanba's voice was very cold. Su Peijian stood still. I can't go out. I want to stay and take pictures. Do you think I'll let you stay? If you don't let me stay, then I'll have to call Hu Jinyao now and ask him to come here immediately. Su Peijian. Chiu Yanba's face had turned livid at this point. Su Peijian raised her eyebrows. You don't have a choice. Either you let me take pictures of you. You let me call Hu Jinyao here. Choose one. You really are a crazy woman. Thank you. I'll take this as a compliment. Chiu Yanba stood still. He glanced at Su Peijian. Su Peijian, I don't understand. Why do you hate Su Qingsang so much? In fact, your identity and the fact that you were swapped had nothing to do with her. She doesn't need to bear your anger at all. She doesn't need to bear my anger? Then who will? Don't deny it. Chiu Yanba sneered. You've enjoyed more than 20 years of nurturing from the Su family. You've enjoyed the glory of the eldest daughter of the Su family for more than 20 years. What reason do you have to hate Su Qingseng? Yes, I did enjoy it, but they took it all away from me. Su Peijian spread her hands. If it didn't belong to me in the first place, then why did they give it to me? If that's the case, it's better not to have it in the first place. Isn't that right? You're very sick. Whatever you say. What I need now is for you to take off your clothes quickly. Chapter 600. Chiu Yanba's hand paused at his belt buckle for about a second before finally stopping. Su Peijian, get out. I can't do anything if you stay here. What can I do? To the end? Stop teasing me. You're not such an honest person. Chiu Yanba gritted his teeth, his body stiff and motionless. Su Peijian supported her chin with one hand and enjoyed the sight of Chiu Yanba struggling with satisfaction. In fact, Chiu Yanba was also one of the people she hated. What right did he have to break off the engagement? Su Peijian, I'll say it again. I can't do anything with you here. Then you don't have to do it to the end. My target isn't you anyway. Hurry up. I'm not very patient. Su Peijian blinked. There's no turning back. Don't even think about getting cold feet. Chiu Yanba narrowed his eyes, gritted his teeth, and began to unbutton his shirt. Su Peijian smiled. Seeing Chiu Yanba unbuttoning his shirt, the corners of her lips curled up even more. She took out her phone and adjusted the camera angle to her satisfaction. Seeing Chiu Yanba take off his shirt and reveal his chest, there was a flash of pride in her eyes. Chiu Yanba took off his shirt, but he didn't go to the bed like she thought he would. Instead, he turned around and went to the bathroom. Chiu Yanba. What are you doing? Take a shower. Qiu Yanba turned to look at her, his eyes cold. Can I take a shower first? Don't try to stall for time. It's useless. Su Peijian sneered. Now that things have come to this, even if you don't do anything, you still won't be able to get away with it. Qiu Yanba looked at her coldly and turned to take a shower. Soon, the sound of running water could be heard from the bathroom. Su Peijian relaxed her body and put her phone aside. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Su Qingsang, who was sleeping on the bed. In terms of appearance, Su Qingsang was no match for him. If a delicate and pretty lady were to dress up, she might be 80 points. But that was all. His skin was very good. After all, he was young and delicate. His figure was not bad either. However, compared to her, she was far inferior. No matter how one looked at it, he was inferior to her. Hu Jinyao was really blind. He yawned and felt a little sleepy. She looked at the time and found that Qiu Yanba had been showering in there for more than 20 minutes. Did that good-for-nothing think he could escape? She stood up and walked towards the bathroom. The water was still running in the bathroom. She pushed the door open and was about to go in, but the inside was filled with mist. Qiu Yanba? She was about to head for the bathtub when she felt a sudden pain in the back of her neck. She widened her eyes and tried to turn around, but she was hit again, and her body went limp. Qiu Yanba stood behind her, looking at her face. He carried her to another room in the presidential suite and put her down. He had just placed Su Peijian's body on the bed when the doorbell rang. There was also a knock on the door. He could hear the urgency in the voice. Qiu Yanba turned to open the door. The moment the door opened, Hu Jinyao saw Qiu Yanba, who had taken off his shirt. He clenched his fist and almost swung it at Qiu Yanba's face. Qiu Yanba seemed to know his intentions and quickly dodged to the side. It's not a gentleman to bite the hand that feeds him. Hu Jinyao glared at him and was about to go in when he saw the open door. It's not that room, it's this one. Hu Jinyao entered the door and saw Su Qingsang lying on the bed. Because she had drunk alcohol and been drugged, her face was red. She was fully clothed and sleeping soundly. He took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and went forward to carry Su Qingsang's body. When he met Qiu Yanba's eyes, his emotions had already calmed down. Thank you. I owe you one. You're welcome. Qiu Yanba touched the tip of his nose. Don't forget me if there's a good opportunity to work together next time. Of course. Hu Jinyao nodded and walked out with Su Qingsang in his arms. However, he suddenly stopped halfway. Where's Su Peijian? She's asleep in the other room. Hu Jinyao's brows were tightly knitted. Qiu Yanba seemed to know what he was going to do. You'd better take her away first. You can deal with Su Peijian anytime you want. But she drank alcohol and was drugged by Su Peijian. You'd better take her for a checkup. Hu Jinyao nodded. He knew what was more important. Su Qingsang was the most important thing right now. As for Su Peijian, in the past, her little tricks were harmless. He didn't take her seriously. Now, he wouldn't let it go just like that. He raised his feet to leave, but suddenly stopped. He turned around and glanced at Qiu Yanba. I'll take Su Qingsang to the doctor now. You can leave now. I'll arrange the rest. President Hua, you're really swift and decisive. It seems that you've made up your mind to teach her a lesson today? Of course. Hu Jinyao's voice was very cold. Repay kindness with kindness and revenge with hatred. I've always been like this. If that's the case, then I'll leave first. Don't worry. I won't interfere with what you do next. Thank you. Hu Jinyao nodded and left with Su Qingsang in his arms. He went upstairs and left the hotel. After getting into the car, he made a few calls. His expression was very cold. His knuckles were slightly white as he gripped the phone. The call was connected. Hu Jinyao's voice was as cold as ice. He gave his instructions. The person on the other end of the phone was a little surprised, but he quickly did as he was told. Hu Jinyao hung up the phone. His eyes fell on Su Qingsang's face. He felt lucky again, but he regretted it again. He should have been with her, no matter where she went or what she did. In that case, he wouldn't have given others a chance. He threw the phone aside. He reached out and stroked Su Qingsang's face. I'm really worried about you. He didn't keep a close eye on her, and she and Zhang Yichen were trapped in the ruins of the earthquake. He didn't pay attention again, and she was almost hurt by Qiu Yanba. Fortunately, Qiu Yanba was still sensible and knew how to make a choice. Otherwise, he almost didn't dare to think about it. Without thinking too much, he turned around and took Su Qingsang to the hospital. It wasn't far from the hospital where Su Qingsang used to work. The doctor on duty also knew Su Qingsang. He had just met her today. The doctor finished examining Su Qingsang as quickly as possible. It's nothing serious. Although she was drugged, the amount was not large, so there's no need for special treatment. After drinking, go back and make some tea to sober her up. After making sure that Su Qingsang was fine, Hu Jinyao finally relaxed. He carried Su Qingsang and turned to leave. When they got home, Li Qianxue and Old Master Li were still awake. Su Qingsang rarely came back, so they were all waiting. Seeing Hu Jinyao carrying Su Qingsang in the door, Li Qianxue stood up immediately. What's wrong? Didn't you go to a party? As soon as she got closer, she smelled the strong smell of alcohol. Li Qianshue's brows furrowed. How much did she drink? Why is she so drunk? Mom, don't worry. I'll take her upstairs to rest first. You sit for a while. I still have something to tell you. His cold expression was different from before. He said you instead of you. Li Qianxue and Old Master Li both looked at him, not understanding what was wrong with Hu Jinyao. Hu Jinyao sent Su Qingsang upstairs, changed her clothes for her, and covered her with the quilt. Finally, he kissed her on the forehead, turned around, and went downstairs. At this time, Su Yusen also came downstairs. The three of them sat on the sofa, waiting for Hu Jinyao. Hu Jinyao sat across from them, and his expression was very ugly. This was the first time he showed such an expression since he came to Lin City. Grandpa, there's something I need to tell you. His serious attitude made Old Master Li and Li Qianxue even more confused. The two elders looked at each other, and finally looked at Hu Jinyao together. What is it? Just say it. Okay. Hu Jinyao nodded and told them what Su Peijian had done that night in a cold voice. Old Master Li and Li Qianshue's expressions changed at the same time. Especially Li Qianxue, she stood up immediately. What did you say? So, Qingsang, did she suffer? Although Su Qingsang was fully dressed when she was carried back, Li Qianxue couldn't help but worry. Qingsang is fine. Hu Jinyao's face was expressionless. That Qiu Yanba is sensible. He doesn't have the guts. Li Qianxue sat back down. She knew Qiu Yanba. No matter what, he had known the Li family since he was a child, and his character was generally good. Su Yusen couldn't believe that Su Peijian would do such a thing. Then, Sister Peijian she is now. You still call her Sister Peijian? Li Qianxue glared at her son, and her voice became colder. Let me tell you, from today on, she is no longer your sister. If you dare to call her your sister, don't call me your mother. Hu Jinyao's focus was not on Su Yusen's address. Grandpa, what I want to say is, although Qingsang is fine this time, it doesn't mean that Qingsang will be fine in the future. What did that mean? Qingsang was lucky to meet Qiu Yanba today. Qiu Yanba is still working with our two families. He doesn't dare to offend us too much. But what about next time? What if Su Peijian finds someone else? Old Master Li and Li Qianxue only felt that their backs were wet. Even Su Yusen was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. They met Qiu Yanba today. Even if he had the intention, he would have to think about what he would have to face when the Hua family and the Li family attacked the Qiu family together. But if Su Peijian was a little crazier, a little more unscrupulous, then what would happen to Qingsang today? Li Qianxue didn't dare to think about it. She closed her eyes. In her eyes, besides pity for Su Qingsang, there was also hatred and resentment for Su Peijian. No matter what, Su Peijian was the daughter she raised, but now, she did such a thing. She was simply crazy. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.